interesting things, just like things that I took note of. Well, I took a little bit note of my individual achievements, and maybe we could each give a summary, like a 1 or 2 sentence summary of our individual thing, as opposed to making Crit do it.
That sounds
So
awesome.
I'll start with mine. 5 day time jump. I transit the ruins, and I saw a shadowy woman painting a figure on the wall of the ruin, or yeah, and the I think the figure who was painting had black hair with a white streak. Or it
The
was
figure
that was the illustration.
on the
Okay.
illustration.
And they had two swords, one of which, importantly, it seems like the Arcanite was holding, which was the sun flavored sword. And then some individual combat things Rebecca and I dealt with. And then we got a report back, and maybe you would share this about Cardigan Post. Do you remember that? The Cardigan Post, that the scouts said there may be soldiers there, but they couldn't really tell what kind of soldiers they were. Tried Point Outpost, which is towards or into Belladonia. Our halfling friend Hal was turned away by the racist Durastians there, but Dimitri got through, and we found out Olandris is occupied, and that's the closest city to Forest Hollow.
Very good.
That's just some broad world stuff.
Important.
Does anyone else want to recap what their individual little thing?
You're just saying like what we did last session?
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
this is actually good because my recap won't go into specifics of what you all achieved. So this is actually perfect.
Well, Toby spent some time at the old chapel in town. He did some ceremonies to get some holy water. He also cast augury to, get a reading on whether us leaving or getting the people out of Force Hollow was a good thing. And I got a positive vibe from that. And then towards the end of my week, I had like a vision in the old chapel.
Mm-hmm.
With essentially a lot of agency being placed upon me. Of the words I wrote down as most important was your own judgment for how to bring balance in this era. And I had a fun little bout with Jiri, trying to get him to fly, and then Jax coming out and showing him up.
Very cool. Love it all.
Steve?
Jiri hung out with his friends. Flying lessons. Magic sword lessons. Did we fight that was last session that we fought the wind thing, right?
2 sessions ago.
2 sessions ago, okay. Dueling with Talperion and getting some honey for his friends.
Perfect.
I spent evacuation week with my favorite little gnome. Second favorite, because I think Gene is my favorite. With Mr. Middletop, learning the basics of item or enchanting. That was one big piece of it. The other big piece of it is I made a new friend. Literally made a new friend. Moby3, who is my he's not clipped to my shoulder. It's not clipped to my shoulder. It's clipped to like my belt or something. It's just literally like a 6-inch sphere that looks like a miniature Alfie, but in all black instead of the bronze. And we fixed the fan.
Yes.
You did fix the fan. It is fully functional.
That's so cool.
And then did like tactics planning with Gallus, which was fun. Who knows?
And then we found a medallion, or one of our friends got a medallion with a very good couplet on it, which I could say right now because I wrote it down, but I feel like Crit wants to say it from memory.
Oh, you can do it.
Oh, okay. Must the soul both wild and true bear thy forsaken quarter, lest anguish old cause ire new, compelled them toward disorder.
That medallion is no longer mine. It is now yours.
More Galluses.
Over the last real 7 days, not 5-day time jump, I got my monitor to work again. So that's my thing that I did.
Didn't know it was broken. Congrats.
My second one has not worked since New Year's Day.
My God.
And I finally got it working again. All right. Great recap. I think we'll go ahead and jump in then. You all should be very proud. Your efforts over the past several days evacuating the populace of Forest Hollow to safety have seemingly been successful. But it is hard to be positive after such a devastating loss. Gallus Aaron has fallen, slain by the Arc Knight, a talent of Daenor and right hand to King Zavar of Durast. A legion of Durastian soldiers pushed into the town below you, so you were not allowed very much time for goodbyes, and were shepherded onward by an elderly hawk Aarakocra that arrived on the scene. And you now travel southward into the Emerald Forest, following the Aarakocra's dark-furred companion, the panther-like tabaxi woman known as Sora. Several hours into your trek at this point, the canopy overhead has grown so dense that it casts the entire forest floor into a solemn and grim darkness, making it virtually impossible to determine whether it's still night at this point or if dawn has arrived. And that is where we pick up, early in the morning of Tyrdas, the 10th of Frostfall. As you all are still hurriedly pushing into the forest, let me do this. Tyrdas, 10th of Frostfall. You all see the woman ahead of you with her black fur and slender tail and feline features suddenly slow to a stop. All right, we've gone far enough. They won't be able to follow us here. We could have made it further, but your Udinel footsteps move slowly. This spot should serve us well enough for now. If you all had not yet had time to rest, now is your chance. I will survey the surrounding landscape and try to get a better sense of our surrounding and ensure there are no immediate threats nearby. Feel free to set up camp, but no fires. If you get cold, bundle up and tough it out. The Panther woman kind of hurries off and her footsteps hasten as she leaps up to a massive tree and uses her claws to ascend, and she quickly disappears into the dark canopy above. You all are left alone in the dark forest.
I'm assuming her feral traits are very reminiscent of the guy from the fighting pit. Not different type, but like human meets beast sort of thing.
They have definitely different vibes. This woman seems to be very definitively a humanoid panther, bipedal, standing upright on her. She is a panther tabaxi, standing up on two legs, tail, black fur, fully cat-like head and face, but was able to speak to you all in common. But the gentleman Telperion bested in his fight in the fighting pits seemed much more human-like, though with clearly bestial features. And seeing Sora, you definitely do see like that guy definitely had feline features in his eyes and some little bits of fur and other feral features on him, but very different races. But there is a bit of a feline connection there. But you all are all left alone to your own devices here in a small clearing in the middle of the Emerald.
Hyperion, how much farther until we get to the temple?
We're going the other way, aren't we?
We're not heading back to meet the townsfolk?
Well, that's not where we've been going. I think she's been leading us south, as we had planned with Gallus to go towards Chimeras, which is south. And the ruins are not that direction. What direction they are?
The ruins were little bit more southeast. You definitely headed a little south, but then eastward from Boris's farm when you guys set out those paths. So instead of going a little, 30 degrees south of east, you're going due south right now, directly southward into the Emerin.
I don't think we do much good going to the ruins now.
I might just leave the soldiers there anyway.
You think they're following us?
Well, that one didn't think they could follow us here.
I think they wanted the town. I don't think they wanted us. I think the Arknight wanted
More than a town.
Gallus, but I don't think they're going to be coming after us.
Also, just as a note, Telperion, Tobirama, and Roulette, your eyes have been able to adjust to such a minimal amount of light down here as the forest has grown darker and darker. But Jiri, you are definitely having a harder time seeing in such dim light.
What's Toby doing?
Toby has not been saying a word this whole time. Physically looks just very dejected. Eyes still red. Just empty slate face.
I look at Roulette. No. Gesture my head towards Toby.
Side note, I would have, Jiri, you would definitely have Alfie by your side this entire trek as he's walking, because Alfie does have dark vision.
I checked that before this episode.
So he definitely would be like helping you avoid trees and shit that you might not see.
I would take out my blue stone as well and kind of like hold it out in front of me.
That definitely is.
That's
an
dim
aid.
light.
Yep, definitely helps though.
I don't know what Telperion was nodding at. Roulette is going to be just probably walking away from the group and ritual casting alarm just around the like 20 feet out, and then just slowly in a circle just around our area.
Seeing that Roulette didn't get my signal that I wanted her to go talk to Toby, I look at Jiri and I'm like,
Oh gosh, I'm not good at these type of things. Maybe we should go talk to him together.
all right, let's try.
Okay, you take the left, I'll take the right.
All right, but you take the lead though.
Okay,
Strike first.
I'm gonna give him a big hug. That always makes me feel better.
Yeah, do that. I wasn't thinking that.
And then I'll go from the left, opposite direction that I said. And I'm gonna like come up behind him and like put my arm around Toby.
Not much
Just sit
reaction.
with him. Yeah, and just sit there for a little bit and like let him be in silence for a while. And see.
I don't want to draw his attention by giving you a thumbs up as I am staying further away. I guess
And Roulette, you are very well able to complete your alarm spell over the next several minutes. Close to right about after the time you finish casting that, Sora does return, dropping softly on her feline legs from a tree bough above you guys, landing fairly gracefully, and says, Dawn has not yet shown its face, though it will likely soon. The ivy wrapping these trees is poisonous, which bodes well for us. As long as you keep your distance, you'll be fine, and it's unlikely much wildlife would settle in this area. You all need sleep if we are to continue southward to Kirsan. It would normally take me 2 days or so to travel that distance myself, but we will be slowed by your Udinil clumsiness.
Ignore that.
Toby lashes out.
So while were you coming to see Gallus in Force Hollow?
How did you find us?
Korik was meeting with the king rather often. Korik, the Aarakocra that accompanied me there. As I understand it, the Beast King was made known of an odd situation in your nation. He received a letter from, I believe, your friend Gallus. And once the Beast King was made aware of this, he sent me and Korik and a number of other scouts secretly into areas throughout Creatia. Korik and I were first stationed in Forest Hollow, and I was prowling those forests, the boundaries of the verdant woods, for a week or so before everything happened. There were scouts sent to the capital of your nation and other cities as well, and Korik fleeted from one location to another, checking in on everyone, simply trying to get a feel for what's the invasion, how it was evolving. Then Korik happened to be near me when we saw the army approaching Forest Hollow. That is when he went to get the Beast King's aid, brought him to Forest Hollow, and reconjoined with me, and we saw fire atop that hill you are all fighting on. So we tried to make it to your aid, but it seems we are too late to save all of you.
Would I be correct to assume that that roar we heard was the Beast King himself?
It was. It's unmistakable, that roar. Fearsome from hundreds of miles away sometimes. But my task laid before me is to escort you safely to Kirsan, so Korik may be able to, as I understand, help you to our capital. It will take a number of days for us to make our way there.
Did the Duressians come from Elandris? Do you know the direction they came from?
I cannot speak to where that legion specifically came from, but if that is the city west of you, then that makes the most sense.
And do you know how far along the invasion was progressing?
So many questions. I do not. We were made aware of the situation as soon as the invasion happened, or I think the king was made aware of Gallus's letter days beforehand. So we stationed ravens in the aviary and otherwise to scope out the situation. But we were caught off guard as much as anyone else was. We did not know this war would evolve as it has.
Thank you, Sora. If you're up to it, we definitely appreciate if you took a first or second watch while we caught some sleep. Like you said, this invasion, specifically in Forest Hollow, caught us a bit off guard, and like you said, we do need some sleep. That fight back there took a bit of a toll.
Very well. Get your sleep. I will patrol the area. My body is not as frail as your Udinil forms. I can make it through the night without being exhausted. Get your rest.
Roulette takes notice of the second slight that this tabaxi has made against humanoids. I will, while we're just rolling out shit, I will wander over to Toby. And I may take some creative license, Critter, on backstory stuff.
Say that again?
I'm going to wander over to Toby, and I may just take creative license.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Can
I ask
Absolutely,
Toby
go
a
for it.
question
Yeah.
first, though? Because we were sitting
You're
together.
still standing there, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and did Toby ever say anything to me?
No.
Okay. I did have...
I'm still here.
Jiri would have eventually asked you, Toby, what happens when people move on, when souls move on? Do you know?
Not truly. I like to think there's a peace, whether there's a place or just a state of being that the soul can transition to.
And I just leave it at that. That's all I would say.
As
Sit
we're
there in
ambling,
silence.
as we're ambling around, ready to kind of get to bed. Toby, I agree with that, and I'm not. I have never been, and I think I've said this to you and Telperion specifically. I've never been too much of a spiritual person, but I do think when people die, there's a part of them that kind of sticks with us, kind of the memories that stick with us, and I think. Hold on one second and just take this, and I'm just gonna like pick up a random rock, and then I'm gonna take my whetstone and just rub it against it. And as I'm doing that, Toby, I know you got into town a bit before I did, but I think it was apparently a tradition of Gallus's that new recruits get to town. He makes that weird meat stew thing. I think we had kind of you probably had it dozens of times, but I know I at least had it 2 or 3 times. So just take this for a bit, and the stone I hand you will have a general aroma of meat stew resembling the Gallus around meat stew.
Yeah, perfect. A comforting, reminiscent smell. Yep.
I know he's gone, but he's you know part of him is with us. Everything he taught us, even in just the few weeks I knew him, and I know he's taught you a hell of a lot more.
Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm more angry than I am sad. I got this feeling that I want revenge against that Arknight for killing our friend. I don't know. How do you feel, Toby?
I don't know. I don't know. I just need time.
From the other side of the camp, Sora speaks to Telperion. You, elf. Do you need to sleep for the entire duration of the rest of them? Or do you get less sleep when you trance or whatever moon elves do?
If you give me 4 hours, I can take over some of the watch as well.
Do not need aid on my watch, but it would behoove us to have additional patrol survey the surroundings throughout the night. If you and I can rotate in areas and make sure no threats are nearby, that is more beneficial than just keeping watch at the campfire site.
I can do that.
Sora, if hold on one second. Alfie, take orders from her for the next 8 hours or until I tell you otherwise.
Why not me?
So you sleep for the first 4 hours.
Sure.
Alfie here can assist you. Alfie, Sora, Alfie. He can alert you if he sees anything around. Tell him where to look. Tell him where to sit. He can sit still.
She gives this rolling mechanical ball a very strange eye and just kind of looks elsewhere.
Well, yeah, Sora, I'll take one of the sides when I wake up.
Very well. Get to sleep, all of you. We must make way early in the morning. It will take us at least 3 days with your footsteps slowing us. But we will keep each other safe and get there successfully.
I'm going to get up from Toby, leave him be for a little bit. And I want to go over to Telperion. I'm going to ask him, Telperion, did you see that big bird thing?
I did.
I thought those things you hated,
I do.
but that cat is friends with the big bird.
It's very complicated because she knows where we're going and I don't.
Do you trust her, though?
I trusted Gallus. Gallus, was it going to trust these people? I just remember revenge like you do. Again, very complicated. But I think for now, we go slow and cautious. If that works for everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I can think of right now.
Roulette's bedroll is already out, and she's just jotting some notes in her notebook. And probably, I think a weird one-off sketch. She's definitely sketching the Arknight in as much detail as she could possibly remember. And she knows it's
Go
weird.
ahead and do me a favor and make a general intelligence check, just out of curiosity.
That's high.
Now he's figure out to do the net 20.
Not necessarily anything I'm going to say right now, but I will keep that in mind.
I accidentally scry on him. No,
you take very detailed sketch of the
she
figure.
knows it's weird. Yeah, she knows it's weird because she's sketching something in like her engineering book that has nothing to do with engineering, but she feels compelled to kind of just draw him. And I also take the other saffron essence drink before I go to bed. I probably just use some like cold water in it, just out of needing comfort or something. Yeah.
Jury will pop over and see you sketching this, and he's gonna ask you,
Did you happen to catch what Gallus was saying to that Arknight thing?
In the flurry of everything, I don't remember specifically what he was saying, but they knew each other. This isn't just some Durastian asshole chasing down a small town guy like Gallus. They knew each other intimately. He called him a different name. And they
Was it Noah?
Yeah, he referred to Gallus as Noah and
Talon?
a Talon. I don't know what to make of it, but I this was a vendetta. This was a targeted thing by that bastard in silver.
And he called him Master.
Maybe we should write down everything we remember, because it might be important later. Might
I'll
help
start
us
jotting.
find this guy.
Yeah.
We are, in some perverse way, safer since Gallus isn't with us because that knight was chasing Gallus and I don't know how he found him. So there's many reasons to be concerned. But
You guys just see Sora periodically doing slow laps, kind of 20, 30, 40 yards into the kind of forest away from your little clearing, just slowly making rounds.
Well, maybe we should get some sleep. That way we can get up, get going.
sounds like a plan.
As Toby beds down, he'll keep that meat stew rock just right near his head.
Do you have the axe with you?
You grabbed it, I want to say.
I pressed it like into your chest and like.
Yes, so I'll do that as well.
It's heavy in your arm, Tobirama. You're not used to holding up weapons that are that hefty. It's just a hand axe, but still, with your strength compared to Gallus's, it's a weight.
I'll like walk over as you're getting bend down before I like as I'm gonna make my way over to where I'm gonna trance. And I'll just lean down and I'll say, "He's with Nadia now, and you're not alone." And then I'll go walk somewhere and sit down.
Perfect. And everyone's bedding down for the night?
Yes.
Perfect. Roulette, you take the saffron. You have noticed a building pressure within your body and lungs over the past couple of days. The saffron, though, does settle any version of a volatile stomach you may have experienced. It definitely settles it and has the intended effect. Your lungs still feel the pressure, but no discomfort. But you are able to fall asleep completely easily.
Good to
Toby, you fall asleep plenty easily, unless your own terror and trauma is not letting you. You probably fall asleep quicker than anyone else. Jiri, no contact from the voice in your head tonight, unless you wish to make contact. And then
Just really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jax would just say,
I don't think it worked, but I think I have a different strategy. I think we can use what happened to our advantage. And that's about it.
It will respond, yes, they seem suspicious of your competency, which I suppose is not that surprising if they've gotten used to Jiri's absolute incompetence. But I don't blame them for thinking you're meaning ill for their friend, but yes, maybe additional persuasion of some sort is necessary. However, we've been able to make strides breaking down the wall between you two. So, moving forward, if you find yourself needing to keep Jiri's frail form alive, we can always do that periodically and allow you to channel more of my magic. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, okay. I got a plan. I think Telperion's the most suspicious, but I think we can work on Toby. He seems a little distraught right now. His guard might be down. I'll talk to him later.
Perhaps.
And then, that's it.
And then Telperion, anything specific with your trance?
Yeah, I'm probably torn thinking about two things. I'm thinking about who this dude is. Who is the Arc Knight? Because I'm definitely thinking about the meaning of having just seen a vision of that sword, and then he's wielding that sword. So I'm trying to figure out if he like plundered it or what. I'm just distracted. And then I'm definitely off kilter a bit from having seen an Aarakocra and not really knowing what to do about it. So those things are kind of reflecting so I'm probably like having flashbacks to like traumatic Aarakocra battles.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Otherwise, nothing specific assaults your mind. You're able to trance both consciously and subconsciously, directing your thoughts where you wish them to go. Otherwise, as you kind of complete the 4 hours of your trance, you are welcome to get up and do as you please. Sora is still within, although it's kind of hard to spot her every once in a while. She blends into the surroundings pretty well, but you do hear soft footsteps and eventually catch a glimpse of her form walking, just still patrolling.
I'll like meet up with her and I'll care. I mean, you don't have to act or RP it per se, but I'll just ask her where she would like me to patrol.
Do me a favor and roll a perception check also while you're at it.
6.
The Emerin seems suffocating right now. Like it's weirdly quiet. You're not able to catch much sounds of insects chirping, or luckily no beasts are prowling the surroundings theoretically, but the Emerin, you're familiar with its kind of general atmosphere, and it feels devoid of life in this area. It's very strange. But you meet up with her, and she will just usher you in a direction and just say, patrol that side of things. I will go on this side and perhaps venture a bit further out.
I'll do that. And I'll just, I don't want to think about anything else. I want to be really vigilant as I patrol.
Okay. Otherwise, not much of note happens over the next 4 hours, and you are all successfully able to complete a long rest.
What is the specific axe he had?
Simple hand axe.
Okay.
Just wooden and iron. Wooden shaft, iron blades. It's very similar to a, shall we say, a Fire Emblem hand axe, where it has 2 blades on each side that are, parallel, mirrored.
Nice.
Symmetrical.
Words. Okay.
But you are all able to wake up, and both neither Telperion nor Sora are in your immediate vicinity when you wake.
Alfie, did you see which way they went?
He kind of looks around and just like kind of BB-8 rolls in a direction a couple times to indicate a direction.
Oh, I need to do.
Nice.
Charges.
Yeah, it's got to be fully charged at that point.
Yeah, we're good.
But over the next few minutes, as you guys start to rise and wake, and with Alfie's suggestion of where he saw Telperion last, you are able to pick out Telperion kind of marching, patrolling pretty distant, like 50, 60 feet away into the tree cover, but you do get sight on him.
I guess
Get
I'll come back.
all my punches back.
Perfect.
Oh, nice.
All your punches are.
We're gonna have the morning recharge. Telperion. Well,
I'll come back if I see they're waking.
Okay.
Alfie, stick with Jiri. I guess. Do we start shouting for Sora? I don't know where she is. Telperion, you with Sora?
She's been around, but Sora.
Stage whisper.
Yeah, I don't want to yell in here. Let's just get ready to go. I'm sure she'll be ready to move quickly. She's in a hurry, it seems.
Sounds good.
While you guys are maybe mid packing up and gearing up, Sora does eventually start making her way back. Her gait is a little strange as you kind of identify her coming, and there seems to be some kind of furred lump slung over her shoulder. And as she kind of comes into the clearing, she kind of slops it down, and it seems to be the form of like rabbit-like, but larger than a rabbit, with deer antlers kind of growing out its head in a certain pattern. Fresh meat for breakfast. This should last us the day. I will cook it quickly, and then let's move on before the smell is enough to lure beasts to our direction.
Can I have the head?
Yep.
Can I have the head?
Say it again? Oh, yes, there is not much good meat on the head. Why would you want it?
Oh, I just like the antlers.
Affinity for horns.
Yeah, exactly.
Strange. Very well. And she will very expertly skin and fillet the creature over the course of 5 minutes or so and separate the head and give you the entire head. And she starts a quick fire, cooks the meat over a small rotisserie blade. She actually wields a rapier at her side. I haven't shown you guys Sora yet, but let me display her.
I want it to be Bagheera.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
She seems ranger like in nature. Like she is very much adorned like Rhea was, in very light, thin armors, able to quickly traverse forest terrains and stuff. But she also has a lot more exposed skin on her features than Rhea ever would have. So it's odd. She seems very lightly armored, surprisingly little, but a cloak and a single pauldron over her arm, and then otherwise a rapier at her side. And she kind of skews part of the beast's carcass on her rapier and holds it over a fire. And over the next 10 minutes or so, she extinguishes the flame quickly. And she draws her own dagger and just carves off a piece for herself and pops it in her mouth. Dig in, but quickly. We mustn't linger long. And you guys are all able to...
Oh, I try to cut the horns off of the little thing so I have some horns.
Okay. Make a survival or nature check.
Well, this 6. Nature is 8 total.
Pretty messy. You functionally have the horns separated from what you know to be a jackalope, the form of a rabbit with antlers. Hang on one second.
I knew it was a jackalope. Have we encountered one of these before? I feel like we have.
But you know this to be a jackalope, and you sever the antlers functionally from the head, although the break wasn't clean. It's a little jarring. You know, it's not pretty work, but you functionally have 2 jackalope antlers at your disposal.
I go, Jerry, what do you think? And I take the antlers and I put them right next to my antlers.
Oh yes, an extra pair does very well on your head.
Break or something.
It makes it look reasonably sized now.
As opposed to what?
You know, how it normally looks.
Which is...
Should we get moving?
Not average.
Average. Okay.
But as you guys finish getting some meat in your bellies, Sora will draw her rapier from the form, kind of wipe it off and sheath it, and we'll just leave the remains of the carcass there on the ground for whatever beasts may come to claim it in the future. But you guys are available to set out with Sora for the first full day of travel in the Emerald. And as we do that, I'm going to play a different song. One of my personal favorites.
So the difference.
But you guys
horns. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You guys begin your journey, heading further in the direction Sora, always kind of leading. Everyone make an insight check as you guys are journeying with her.
Flat 9 for me.
11.
Toby, is that just an RP disadvantage?
Oh, I'm gonna be disadvantaged on lots of things.
Are you okay? That is that. Okay. You guys are all just maybe trying to size up this woman, what her capabilities are, what she's like, and frustratingly, it's very hard to read this person you've probably seen a tabaxi in Ostennis, maybe in passing in the streets, but this humanoid figure, this tabaxi woman, is definitely different in her mannerisms, the way she speaks. She's speaking common, but just her overall personality is just hard to get a read on. But she seemed kind of, as one of you has identified, rather snarky and bitter as a traveling companion, but so far seems a competent navigator of the forest.
Christopher, before we get too far away from it, my bedtime intelligence check, is that a later thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That may not come into that intelligence check was directly relevant to how well your memory served you in the sketch you made,
Okay.
which when that sketch ever comes to relevance again, that will matter. But that was directly a competence of the sketch.
Perfect. Thank you.
Did we notice that Sora is like more snarky towards anybody in particular, or is she treating us all equally?
Hard to tell. I'd say not enough insight to suss out if there is a leaning toward one versus another, but seems somewhat even. Whoever asks a question, she may condescendingly brush off as that's stupid, or she's just generally like not very friendly. But again, seems like a competent guide in the forest environment so far.
I want to watch how she is guiding us through the forest and like just kind of pay attention to how like her woodcraft, like what, like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like I've been through the Emerald before and I'm curious if she takes different routes or if she's like
Sure.
checking different things, like where her motivation is coming from, like, you know, where she's been, how she's been trained.
Do me a favor and make a survival check specifically to identify those types of behaviors in her.
I can't roll above a 10 today. 9 again.
You're not able to always ascertain what specifically she's looking for, but she often stops by trees and scratches at them, or pauses to look around for certain visual information, maybe bending down to brush the ground and pull it to her nose and sniff it. Like there's very clearly indication of she's looking for information, and based on that information is guiding her behavior, but you're not specifically sure, like, is she looking at mosses or beast droppings or what specifically is going on there? But seems, again, the confidence with which she's doing so may actually set your mind at ease a little bit. You're like, oh, she's correctly surveying the forest as we're moving.
I'm gonna also just gonna say my shield is not on right now.
Okay.
Same.
I'm gonna have a sliver in one hand and a free hand otherwise.
Okay. Perfect.
Hey, Sora,
Yeah. Yes, Udinil, what do you wish?
are these mushrooms edible over here?
Let me see.
I hope she rolls a 1.
You're so close, Telperion. Udinil. Actually, Telperion and Jiri can make a general intelligence check when she says the word Udinil.
Is it EU? Oh no.
It is Udenil.
11.
I rolled a 6 plus a 2, 8.
Telperion, you're probably studying her body language and stuff more than recognizing this word. But Jiri, the word she's saying sounds like a variation on a word you know in Primordial, a word that means nothing.
Oh.
But she seems to be speaking it in a different dialect that you're not familiar with what that means. But you're like, in Primordial, that means like nothing or plain.
Okay. He'll ask about those mushrooms though.
Okay. Let me see. And let me pull up Sora's stat block, which she does have.
Can I check the mushrooms with her?
Sure. Yeah, she will. Yeah, you guys will roll separately. And that did not roll, but this will. Holy shit.
Yes, this is what I wanted.
Yes, those are simple blue caps. You can break those off and eat them raw or cook them up. Those are harmless. Nothing that would make you ill.
Do I trust her?
Insight check. Your insight's pretty good. Her attitude seems like, again, not concerned with your question. She's not trying to babysit or teach or educate here. She's just like, yeah, sure, you can eat that. but you don't get a reading that that's not true, that her words are false. You're just getting like, I don't know if she really cared what I asked, but I guess she might be telling the truth.
Okay. I will pick those mushrooms and not eat them right away.
Okay, you're welcome to do so. You can add roll a d4 for me. It was going to be 1d4 plus 1, so you get 2 functional blue cat mushrooms.
Okay, I will go give them to Roulette. Roulette, look at these cool mushrooms that I found and that I know are edible.
Oh, yeah, they look tasty. I guess we can. Yeah, we'll save them for, I guess, a side dish. Can't exact. We'll cut them in half, and well, Sora doesn't need any mushrooms. We can split them amongst ourselves.
Maybe they'll chill Toby up.
Something tasty, yeah.
As we're going, I want to ask Sora a question. I want to say, Sora, we were going to head to Chimeras, and we're glad for your aid, but why are you interested in helping us get there? What do you need from us?
I need nothing from you. This is a task I was assigned by Korik, one villain I trust immensely, and I will do so and complete the task before me. That is it. That is as far as our companionship goes.
Sure, but you don't know what he wants from us?
Not necessarily, other than that he seemed to have interest bringing you back to the capital to speak further. But we must make way to Kirsan first. It is much closer, and it is where Korik was going to meet back up with us.
Sora, it's just 3 days of this until we hit Kirsan?
Roughly. It should take, with our current pace, I'm thinking 3 days to reach the southern border of the Emerin. Perhaps another half day or so to reach Kirsan. And then Korital is the capital, which is much further to the east. But I believe Korik has the ability to transport us there rather quickly.
Good to know. Lead the way, and we'll talk to you in 3 days. I will, back away from her to the other people in the group.
She just kind of grunts under her breath, but doesn't regard you. But as you guys continue to venture into the forest, I would like all of you to one at a time roll a D100 for me. Who wants to go first?
Michael Jacoby going first.
Yeah, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
98.
98. That's a fun one.
The D10s you gave me are probably I don't know, one of the prettiest. They have this really cool purple blue,
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
I
ones.
do like the visual combo of those. So with the 98, you guys are proceeding somewhat smoothly through the forest, navigating difficult terrain at times. But between you, Telperion, Toby Rama, who even if he's been silent and solemn, is very successfully finding his footsteps in these woods, as you've seen him do before when you guys first met. He seems somewhat familiar in this type of terrain. But between you both and Sora, you guys are able to make good pace forward. You come to a unique spot of the forest where you find several trees, several as in a dozen or more trees, have their branches have reached out to each other and have connected. And it is this network of tree branches that you've never seen before specifically. Not sure what the nature is of this particular area that has caused this to be the case, but just a bit of visual significance that catches your eye.
I want to check it out.
Sure. What do you do?
What kind of tree? Can I tell what kind of trees they are?
Roll a nature check with proficiency because of your herbalism kit.
So nature is +2 plus another 2, so 14 total.
Okay. These are. Let me pull this up. They're really big blue cat mushrooms. No. These are darkwoods, just darkwood saplings, they're commonly called, but they are seemingly young. They're only compared to like the 200 feet tall trees that dot the entire surrounding. All the trees above you are so massively large, and their canopy just is so densely covered in foliage that it just makes the entire terrain shrouded in darkness, even in daylight. Which you're just a bit of visual information is every once in a while you'll get like a strand of daylight poking through these trees, but otherwise it is dim light virtually everywhere. But you identify that these are somewhat young darkwood saplings, and you definitely identify them as that type of tree.
And do I have any kind of understanding of what that like kind of tree in this forest would signify? Like, these trees don't need a lot of light. These trees are important to a group. This is a natural formation. I kind of want to just investigate it because I'm curious about it.
I think the phenomenon here would strike you as odd because these are such a common, popular tree throughout the Emerald Forest, which usually don't grow together in this strange way. So that's probably what you would notice. Is they're just a typical tree that one day they will grow tall as the rest of the trees, and probably to heights of 100 feet, 150 feet or more. So they do throughout their lifespan reach for light slowly, but these are young and are only maybe 50, 60 feet high, but they're all interwoven, their branches connected.
Sorry, I talked a lot. You can go.
Does it, from the ground, does it look like it's like interwoven to so much that we can't like get past them, or that like it's surrounding something, or it's just they look like they're growing close together?
Make an intelligence check or investigation specifically, Roulette.
Can't wait for the 9 on a natural 1.
You very quickly brush any concerns to the side that these are getting in your way. These are not blocking your path by any means, although you are noticing where bits of roots have protruded from the ground in different fashion. You do notice that some of the roots from different trees seem to connect into each other as well, similar to the branches ahead. But again, most of the root work is still subterranean and not blocking your path.
Toby, Jerry, does one of you want to, boop, hop up there and check out the branches that are tangling?
Well, I'm offended. I'm gonna go, and Roulette just starts climbing.
They can fly.
I can climb.
Roulette takes off and climbs with rivaling Sora's own climbing speed. Roulette ascends very quickly with no claws to aid her ascent. But yeah, you're able to climb up 30, 60 to the top.
Was that, what am I looking for?
Something of interest.
This is why I should have gone up there.
I'll take a peek around, because you said like there's like some daylight up here ish, maybe.
You've climbed up 60 feet. The daylight that might strand through is another 150 feet higher than where you are.
But
the tops of some of these trees are 200 feet tall. You're 60 feet up on these smaller, younger trees.
Do I, hearing out in this like little thatch of trees that I was looking at, do I see anything interesting up here?
I'm going to use this opportunity to have you roll a D100.
Oh, Jesus. How many bees? 18. It's a good number. I like that number. 18 bees.
That is 18 is here. You, from this vantage point, it's hard to see past the interwoven branches and stuff are occluding your view a little bit, but you do see movement off to the side, like 100 feet or so to the east.
Jesus. I very quickly I take out a rock because I know I have at least like 3 or 4 rocks just in my pocket for this, or like a metal bearing or something. I take it out and I whisper into it, movement 100 feet to the east, and I just drop it as it continues to say that down.
Okay, that's awesome.
So it's just
Perfect.
repeating on a loop saying that.
Perfect. So a rock thuds to all of you guys' feet near you, and it's just Roulette's voice saying, movement 100 feet east. Movement 100 feet east.
And after that, as soon as I drop it, I'm going to take out a new thing that I crafted with the Smith's Companions. And shit, they're not even going to see it. I'll show it off later. It's a pair of goggles with like earmuffs attached to it. But the goggles are completely blacked out and it just completely covers my ears. I'm going to strap them on and cover my ears. And I'm just going to whisper, go, see what you can see over there. And Moby 3 is going to start fluttering forward.
Amazing. How does Moby 3, you may have flavored the specifics for us last time when it was flying, but how does this entity fly?
So I realized afterwards. So
you did describe part of it specifically.
2 little slots open up on the side, and it's like a combination of like wasp wings and dragonfly wings, and they just start fluttering like mechanically, and it just lifts up, and it's very hummingbird-like.
It's a thopter.
It is literally a thopter.
It's a bludger and a snitch had a very interesting relationship.
A really good visual for this.
So that's what it looks like, and it'll start flying forward. And I want it, because I remember I said this last time. I did pick bat as the thing that I was like using the staff for.
Sure.
So the bat does have blind sight. I don't know if we want to use that. Feel free to kick it.
Yeah,
but,
sure. Let me pull it up just so I have it.
Well, it's kind of just a sphere, so it's
yeah. Well, yeah, it's got a little sonar pulsing mechanism. So yeah, functionally, it's absolutely uses a bat statistics, but that's super cool for your.
I will have that float forward 60 feet up, and out in that direction.
Okay, it goes over there.
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, it will. And I want it to just like be looking and seeing what it can see near that movement.
For sure. Make a perception check. Are you entering its vision?
Yes.
Okay. So with your contraption, you're kind of going into its vision. This is very AR or VR drone tech.
Drone racing, yeah.
Yes. But I want you to make a perception check. Perception check with its perception. You can use advantage on this check.
Okay. 20 plus 1. Each of these are plus 1 because it's
Yep.
18.
Oh,
Wow.
that's awesome. Your thing flutters over and you're getting the sense visual and audio information from it, and I'm gonna give that a roll. Okay, that's probably high enough. As your thing is approaching the source of movement you saw a couple trees away, still part of this branching network, you see 3 individuals huddled over against the base of a tree, and they seem to be like carving into it or something. And as your thing gets close enough for you to get that information, you see one of them look up to the sky and say, "Quick, run!" And you see 3 amphibious lizard-like humanoids dash off into the forest away from you.
Like away.
Oh, yes.
I'll whisper shit to myself. I'll take the goggles off. I'll have it stay there, and I'll just start climbing down.
Okay.
There were 3 folks over there doing something at a tree. They ran off. I probably can't catch them, but I don't know what they were doing something over there. Hold on a second. And I will put the goggles back on, and I will put the ear things back on, and I will have Moby 3 very cautiously descend and take a look at whatever they were carving into the tree.
Right before you go back into Moby 3 senses, you just hear from behind you, "This is slowing our pace." But then you enter the experience, the senses of Moby 3, and you just see a lot of runic-ish. It seems some kind of language, but it's more symbols than, it's not quite runes, it's not quite language. It seems like symbols, but written in like prose, carved into the base of this tree.
Feel free to tell me no. While blinded and deafened, can I take out my notebook and attempt to just like write by hand what I'm seeing?
Have you ever played Cranium Cadu, where you have to blindfolded draw something? You can do that. Make a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Nat, you rolled stealth. I'm going to make you re-roll. Just kidding.
No.
I'm totally kidding. This would be even higher with your sleight of hand.
Oh yeah, it's plus 4. Yeah.
Wow, what a disadvantage roll. Your hand-eye coordination or your hand-mind coordination is very, very strong. You're used to taking notes of inventory while your dad's rattling off things to you or whatever from your past. You very successfully get a quick sketch of the runes you're seeing.
And nothing else in the area of what they were doing?
Doesn't seem so. No other possessions, belongings, hints of their passage.
I'll just whisper aloud, "Okay, come on back," and I'll take off the goggles and...
Are you up top still?
No, I dropped down.
Oh,
She dropped down, yeah.
I look at the carvings.
Any of you recognize this or this writing? Do I recognize it?
Roulette, you do not. Telperion and Sora, I'm going to let have a intelligence check.
I've 9.
You can't quite place it. You think you might have seen something like this before. Sora, impatiently crossing her arms and tapping her foot to the side, kind of out of a little bit of curiosity, averts her gaze toward your notebook, and she says, that is the language of the druids. Korik often uses that in his spellcraft. What of it? Where did you see that?
Can you read barely 100 feet off that way? Any chance you understand this?
I do not have a penchant for magics at all. Well, that's not entirely true, but not druidic magics at least.
So druids made the trees grow together?
Perhaps if someone inscribed that, it'd be weird that one tree would have this effect. Give me a moment. And she peruses around the large tree that you guys are at. Yep, here it is. Come this way. And if you guys step around the tree to her guidance, she will kind of take her claws and just kind of like lightly tap the kind of draw her claws along the wood of this tree. And there are runes on this tree as well. It is likely runes were put on all of these trees. I don't know what the nature of this enchantment would be or what benefit it serves. But if this seems unnatural, perhaps it is because they are imbued with some kind of natural blessing.
I wish we could take advantage of it in some way.
Not that prepared.
Nothing to be done. Let us move on.
I'll quickly cast Detect Magic.
Sure.
Take out my sleeve.
Are you ritualing it or popping a spell slot for it?
I'll just pop a spell slot.
Sword would kill us.
You open up your mind to the sensation of additional magical awareness, and indeed, you get a very like a light flashlight being shown through skin. The trees become slightly translucent, and you see veins of magical energy coursing through all of these trees that are connected, and they're all flowing through the branches into each other. Just one very cyclic, mutual cohesion of nature. Again, it seems to be of transmutation magic, but you're not sure what purpose it serves.
Sora, apologies. 5 minutes. Just a quick 5-minute break, easy on the feet. I want to take a look at this tree and one of the other trees over there. Apologies. my deepest Eudalian apologies.
Eudanil, that is what you are. You are Eudanil, I am Villian, and that is just the nature of things. It is no insult, it is merely statement of who you are. Telperion and Jiri, I'm going to give you, Jiri, you already know this term means like lack of speciality or plain, really. Telperion, since she's saying it again, I'll give you one more intelligence check to see if you get any interesting information from that term.
What kind of check is this? Intelligence?
Yep, just general
12.
Intelligence. I'll let you do history, so you could add your proficiency
14.
to this. 12 is enough. It's above 10. You do recognize this word. Previously, you may have been otherwise occupied with what you were paying attention to, but similar to Jiri, you are getting, this is a primordial word or something adjacent to it, and it strikes you as the word doesn't quite mean, and it's clear she's speaking in a different dialect than Auran. Auran. She's speaking in a different dialect than Auran, but it's still primordial language. And you're putting it together that the word doesn't quite mean nothing, but it means like plain or without feature. Okay. You probably don't recall what the word Villian means that she also referenced.
Let's try to see what gets her frustrated, and I will go up to her and be like, Dora, have I ever showed you my juggling skills? You should watch while we wait. And I will juggle my 3 rocks for her.
I'm going to give her a check here real quick.
Annoyance check.
As you are juggling, she snatches one of the rocks out of the air and throws it to the ground. This is a waste of our time.
Well, could I be faster than her, potentially?
Yeah, potentially. But if you're in a juggling routine and she tries to grab it, you're not... I'll say you can make a sleight of hand check with disadvantage.
Hey, you never know.
Roulette made it work.
Roulette did make it work. Yeah, I think she's able to grab your stone, but she doesn't like hurl it to the side or it's not lost. She just like throws it to your feet in frustration that we are wasting time with things that are of no use to us.
You sound a little jealous. You probably can't juggle, but okay. Maybe I'll teach you some other time.
Sora, we don't see magic trees every day. We just want to investigate. Roulette, how's it going?
These trees are definitely magical. It looks like it's the entirety of the tree. I'm not sure. If through like detect magic, do I see any sort of like source and or on-off switch?
Make because you detected magic, just make a general arcana check. In general, I might have made you make this with disadvantage because it's primordial, ancient, natural magic that you're not maybe usually used to evaluating, but you had previously detected it. So just make an arcana check.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay, do it.
Please work.
Oh,
That's way better. As you are studying kind of the flow of these vein-like streams, channels of magic within these somewhat translucent trees through your lens of the detect magic spell, you are noticing a legitimate flow, like there's movement of flow through the direction of where this is happening, and it very much reminds you of your understanding of some kind of like a neural network or some kind of synaptic response or some kind of communication, transitional of energy that flows from one point to another and then descends into the ground. It doesn't seem like there's a source as much as it's a continual loop of this magic that permeates all of these trees. With it being transmutation magic, a suspicion kind of arises in your mind that that magic is changing all of these trees in some regard. Whatever that may mean, you're not sure.
The spot where Sora brushed away the bark or whatever, do the runes match what I saw on the other tree?
Different, in a literal sense, it's different inscriptions, but very, very clearly the same runic language being used, but it's not the same exact, literal character by character representation of prose. So some kind of different inscription is
I
belied
thought it
on
was
this.
like tree-based instant messaging.
all right.
I'm not sure what I will relay all of that on as best I can to everyone else. Telperion, I might even, I guess, look to you if you know anything about trees like this in the Emerald. This is my first time here. Long-time fan, but
First time.
yeah. It's something, it's strong and powerful magic, but not sure if it's anything useful to us.
I'm starting to agree with Sora. This feels like it's wasting our time. I can't tell anything about it. It's magic, but we can't tap it or anything.
If it will help you all urge you forward, I can make mention of this to Korik when next we meet.
Sure.
That'd be much appreciated, Sora. Let's move out.
Very well. Michael and Steve, both of your D100 rolls were kind of built into the same thing, but Michael Kennedy or Tim, your turn for D100. MK, you want to go first?
I got
Yeah,
you.
MK, you want to go?
53.
Prime number. Is it?
Mhm.
It is.
As you guys are journeying forward another 2 or 3 hours, similar terrain, Sora seems to always be on high alert, her ears perked up, her tail very rigidly moving back and forth, not very casual, seemingly on alert for any nearby threats that may assail you. But you guys, as you're journeying onward, you find tilled earth in the middle of this forest, like a roughly 20 by 50 patch of land tilled into rows, and out of these rows of churned earth are little sprouts where seeds clearly had been planted, and there's just rows and rows of fruits growing out of the ground in this location.
Three.
Go get him.
Yoink.
I'll quickly cast Find Traps.
Cool.
Very cool.
See if this is rigged to lure in wildlife.
As you, what does it look like when you've never cast a spell in front of us before? What does it look like when Toby Rama casts a spell?
Well, currently, just so everyone's aware, Toby has his shield out and Gallus's hand axe in the other hand. And he'll just kind of put the axe behind the shield and kind of cross his arms and just kind of like have a little like jerk motion as I'm sending out my divination magic.
You almost feel a pulse of wind erupt from Toby, very small, not forceful and dramatic, but just a small breeze just kind of emanates from him in a radius. And Toby Rama, when you open your eyes, let me see how the spell is worded.
I do not know where they are. I just know that a trap is present.
You definitely, it's almost frustrating having used your Eyes of the Grave capability in the past, which kind of gives some version of direction or quantity. You're getting less specific information than that, but you do encounter like almost, it feels like in your mind, just like jagged spikes. You're like almost sensing spikes somewhere nearby, but you're not sure where specifically those may be.
Jerry, hang on a sec. This place is rigged to harm. This is a trap. This is not free pickings for us.
How do you know? They look pretty free to me.
That's what makes it a good trap. Sora, do you think you could try and suss out any traps around here? It'd be nice to have a quick bite instead of taking time for dinner.
Yes, I will not turn away free food if we can outsmart the whatever entity put these here. You take that side. I'll walk around the perimeter this way. And you guys can each roll a survival or investigation check.
I will do that. I'm also gonna retroactively, and just this will be my throughout the journey each day, probably around. Oh, I wouldn't know when noon is.
It is difficult too, without climbing to the top, which you guys can absolutely climb the trees 200 feet up to poke through the canopy to get an idea of timing. It is going to be difficult otherwise.
Essentially, each day we set out, I'm going to wait like a while of journeying, and then I'm going to cast Aid on the group. Just to have up essentially for the day. So I'm going to throw that in here. Yep. It's not when I'm casting it, but
so theoretically that's always going to be a couple hours into your journey. You'll wait a couple hours, then cast it, or right when you leave. Okay.
A couple hours in. But now I will make a survival check.
And Sora will make one as well.
Ooh. Yeah, Sora.
I swear I'm not forcing these crits. Toby Rama, even with your 13, surveying the surroundings, it does seem to be rather crude grooves of dirt, rather crude grooves in the dirt in the perimeter around this area. And as you kind of kick or brush some of the dirt to the side, and Sora does the same on her end, it seems that there are like a bear trap is laid in, just sitting out and potentially would grab if anyone stepped on it. These are long rows of that type of device that are rusted iron, super old, but potentially still functional, just set out in a perimeter around this thing. Seemingly you could step over these and they'd be fine, but probably intended to dissuade beasts, dumb beasts.
I'll have noticed them and then look up to notify Sora, but she's already seen them and is already probably sussing out how to disable them. I'm a little.
You see Sora very quickly step over one, and then she is just walking freely amongst the tilled rows of fruits.
I'm just gonna start SEOing some fruit off of the trees towards me and Jerry.
I believe the spell is Kair.
I'll use Kair to what looks like SEO the fruits over.
Yes, you are more than welcome to, even within the kind of limited strength requirement, those, they just disconnect, snap off the stems that you're pulling them from. So Sora herself will just find a nearby strawberry and just stick a single claw in it and kind of pull it back from her and put it in her mouth, ponders, and then moves on. But okay. There are strawberries, watermelons, some full, like the watermelons are small and not fully large, and similarly cantaloupes type fruits that are small and growing. Not all of them are fully matured, but all of them are in an edible state.
Okay, you should levitate one into my mouth. I'll grab it.
Okay.
Many berries as well.
I I don't even know. I try to drop a watermelon on Jerry's face.
I try to catch it with my mouth.
No damage, but catching the watermelon is probably gonna hurt a little. But maybe
Choose a smaller one.
Yeah, maybe a puffy lip for a minute or two. But
I'll just like sit there and siphon off a decent little, nice armful for each of us of fruit.
perfect.
All right. Nice. Good find, everyone. Shall we go on?
Please. And you guys can continue onward. Jiri, how about a D100 roll?
So we're going Villian.
68.
Oh, nice -1.
So close.
You do find roulette. A thought you had earlier comes back to you as you guys approach a very wide diameter tree. The diameter maybe 40 feet wide or so. Definitely, this is one of the 200 feet tall trees. It is massive and large, and its roots are gnarled and have come up on the ground and go back down and up again, and just a very jagged formation of its root work that does make the journey forward very difficult unless you were to go wide to a side and try and go around it. But the immediate path is difficult to get across.
What was my previous thought being like, hey, this tree is blocking our way?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we feel like splitting up, or you have a preference for which side to take?
Sora does not even regard the question, just walks forward, and I'll give her this roll. Quickly leaps upward, and in the matter of 6 seconds, or maybe even up to 10 seconds, quickly climbs over it and stands at the top of this network of gnarled roots, now roughly 25 feet in the air or so, and just looks back at you all and kind of gives a nod for you to follow.
Is she going left or right?
She's going straight over these gnarled area of roots.
The
roots just are gnarled and go up to like 25 feet high and continue both west and east, blocking your immediate path. But should you be able to vault those, you're fine.
Over we go.
Shall we?
We shall.
Okay. No real checks required. Over the next, even if it took you a little longer than her, you guys are all able to successfully climb over the roots.
Very interesting.
Otherwise,
I did not.
Otherwise, it has been a significant number of hours since you guys set out this day, and you suspect if you set out in the morning or some late morning after your long rest, it might be getting in toward evening or later at this point. And Sora will say, we should consider looking out for places to call it a night. And if any of you guys want to, you can roll a survival check to kind of ascertain if there's a good spot nearby.
10.
Natural 1. I wish that was what was the defining one.
Over there. By that swamp.
Okay, we got a 10. We got
Are we all
a
rolling,
1.
or?
Same who wants to.
I would say Toby Rama can as well if he wants to, but Jiri's looking around and doesn't know the forest. Roulette's probably not eager to make this her contribution, but
she's drone racing.
Toby is pretty spaced out.
Okay. You guys are all kind of still Telperian. You feel comfortable in these woods, but not this section of the woods necessarily. You are, to oversimplify the layout of the Emerald Forest, a massive forest terrain that stretches from the entire west coast to the east coast of the entire continent, where I don't know if it's longitude or latitude, but where For's Hollow is located fairly centrally in the continent, the terrain you guys are going directly southward from For's Hollow, that boundary is somewhat a boundary of, your people do not settle east of here.
Okay.
The multitude of Mooncrest elves that make their home in the Emerald are all the western portion of this, and then there's a southward portion of that as well that is heavily Aarakocra, but you're frankly the northwest chunk of the Emerald, and we are slightly east of that, just as a gentle reference. But you definitely have not explored these sections of the woods before, so it is maybe even jarring for you potentially. But following Sora's guidance, she does find an additional small clearing that she determines is relatively safe. You can all bed down here. There are tracks nearby, but they seem 2 days old or so. So hopefully that is no issue to us for the night. But I will patrol again. Although Elf, if you do wish to lessen my burden, at some point, I should get some shut-eye at some point.
I'll do my.
Sure thing, Cat.
I'll do my.
You see, like a cat would. You see, like, kind of the corner of her mouth, like. But that's it.
If you prefer I call you Sora, you could call me Telperion.
Let me get to a point. That is she will literally say, there is no need for names. We have a task in front of us to meet Koraka Kirsan, and that is as far as this goes. Now get your rest.
Did you want to? Sorry.
I'll ritually cast alarm around us.
Sure.
Did you want to go first, or should I go do 4 hours and then she'll go?
She seems like she's patrolling the area, so you're welcome to trance first.
I'll go first.
Okay. Anything you guys all want to do as you kind of settle down for another long rest after your first full day? Yeah.
I want to do some practicing of what Rebecca showed me.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, tell me what that practice is going to look like.
I'm gonna pick a the deadest tree I can find, so I'm not chopping into some fresh if there's anything around, just some target. And I'm gonna get a sliver in both hands, and I'm gonna. Oh, actually, no. I'll take my great sword out. I'm gonna hold my great sword out, shields to the south, and then try to do a swing.
Long sword.
I'm sorry. What? Yes, my sword. What did I say?
Great sword. You said.
Oh, yeah. I'll hold my long sword in one hand, try to transfer it, and then I'll do a swing and then transfer it and then throw a sliver.
Okay. Do me a favor and roll an attack roll with disadvantage.
Oh. I rolled really good. I rolled 15 plus 6, 21.
With disadvantage?
Yeah, it was. I had one that was cocked between 19 and 1, so I re-rolled it, and my lowest roll was a 15.
That's awesome. As you do so, you had seen her shoot an arrow and then quickly go for a weapon at her side, throwing it. You take your sword across your body and then with a free hand, let go of your sword hilt and grab that and throw it. And although it might feel somewhat clunky, you do have successful aim with the thing you just threw. You do think it, like, your quick on the drawness was a little slow, but functionally your aim was good on that attack.
Cool. And I'll just practice that for half an hour, and then I'll go to trance.
Okay.
I'm just going to read over the notes that Ira and I came up with, not functionally doing any work, but just reviewing the notes. And yeah.
For sure. You're welcome to. Anything from Toby and Jiri?
Tired. Sleepy time.
Very well.
I would. Toby will just, be silent and lay down and go to bed.
Okay.
Holding the axe, having the stone nearby.
Make a perception check, Toby Rama.
For my own, what is this concerning, or like, because I want to know if I want to do disadvantage or not.
This is subconscious, so actually this is kind of passive perception, but let's see if you pay attention to it. Just give me a simple perception check, straight roll. 10. As you're laying down for bed with the axe and the stone and everything, you just feel a warmth on your chest where you have something in your pocket. It just like it captures your, you pay it attention, you know, it gets your notice for a moment, but otherwise does not need you to interact with necessarily, just something you notice. Otherwise, you guys are all able to bed down for the night and begin your long rest. I'm going to give Sora a perception check for her watch.
20.
She's rolling real well. Very peaceful. She continues to patrol the areas, and otherwise, Telperion, when you complete your trance, and you can let us know if there's anything specific going on in your trance, but as you complete your trance, she will catch your eyes and make her way toward you guys, though keeping some distance, and will just she'll lay out a very thin mat that she kind of takes out of a pouch on her side and just kind of curls and lays down on that. Very simple bedroll.
I think I'm thinking as I trance about being in the forest of my people again, and how like kind of the whole like you're looking at the same moon as someone who's far away. I was sleeping under the same trees as my family who is far away, and then I'll just wake up and patrol.
Perfect. As you are patrolling, give me a perception check.
15.
You are patrolling the area, and most of the time passes with no issue, although at some point you do hear the snap of a twig, and you kind of go on high alert for a moment, trying to listen out for something, and then you hear and like an increasingly loud noise, like something large running in the forest, getting closer and closer to you. And as you turn in the direction of it, you do see 60 feet or so off in the southward direction, roughly, the large hulking form of a bear-like creature, although it does have a beak and feathers, running at you all.
At us?
Toward your direction. So it has clearly noticed it's not running directly at you, but it is running directly at the clearing that your friends are sleeping in right now.
Oh, I dash in the back and say, "Wake up, everyone!"
Okay, so functionally, because you rolled high enough to hear it coming, you can rouse everyone, and it's not going to get a surprise round or anything. But we will, when we get back, I want to take a quick bio break, but then we will roll initiative.
Beautiful.
Biology break.
For this, Jiri and Roulette will not be under aid, as this is definitely after that the 8 hours have worn off.
True.
Also, MK, you and I are down the spell slots because we haven't gotten a full rest yet, right?
Correct. It is 6 hours into the rest, so light activity will complete the rest for all of you at this point, but you are not quite there yet. But okay. Bio break. Shout out campaign 1 break music.
Oh, is that what this is?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like,
Classic.
actually, right there. Those like 3 notes. Dun,
Bum,
yeah,
bum.
so good. Hi, Pug.
It's Twin Elms. It's a song from Pillars of Eternity that they all voiced stuff in.
Oh, nice. Want to come up for a little bit? Come here. Go.
Boom, boom, boom,
Go.
boom. We'll throw in a combat song. As I move the banner from that to here,
Fucking owlbear.
and you see a bear-like creature, feathered face, feathered fur, that transitions into somewhat normal fur. Seems like a bear in every regard other than its avian face and beak. Common beasts throughout the continent. No one's surprised necessarily to see this, other than the fact that it interrupted your night's sleep.
It does have feathers, right?
Yes, it for sure has feathers. But you guys are woken by Telperion quickly in enough time for you to functionally stand up and face in the direction of this thing. And as it crashes through some of the nearby trees, everyone give me a perception or nature check first. All of you are very quickly able to ascertain this thing looks somewhat emaciated, like it is hungry. And who rolled? Roulette and Toby Rama both. You know that owlbears aren't recklessly aggressive creatures unless they're hungry. This thing is definitely looking for food and would not normally charge a group environment like this were it not hungry. But as it crashes in, it definitely seems aggressive, like it's going to continue charging. And so everyone can roll initiative.
You guys look at this pug for a minute.
He's a pug.
He's a pig, a piggy pug.
Oh,
he's nice.
looks like that is everyone. Yep.
I'll say that I'm still shieldless. I'm just holding one sliver in a hand.
Okay. Yeah, some of you guys' gear might be at your feet, maybe not sheathed at your hip like you're used to. Telperion, luckily, being the only member I think that uses heavy armor, you know that's a costly, time-wise, it's a costly endeavor to put on armor, but you were already up and patrolling, so you're good there. The rest of you probably don't have your armor on. Especially those of you in medium armor. Roulette specifically is allowed to, light armor wearers suffer no penalties sleeping in light armor. But this thing is charging in, crashing through the trees surrounding the clearing. And Toby Rama, it is you're the first to react. What do you do?
I'm going to say I was here or something because I would have been closest to it.
Sure, yeah.
I will lead off with a little shield of faith on myself. Getting me up to 16 with my shield.
What? I think that's more realistic. I would have run away towards you guys.
And I'll move here. And that's my turn.
Okay. Telperion, looks like you are up.
Killing a sliver.
Roll it.
Go ahead. You're gonna kill it? 19.
Absolutely hits. This thing's a large target, easy to aim at.
Okay. Rolling a d6 plus 6. I rolled a 6. So d6, right? Plus 6. And then I'll put a psionic on it too.
Okay.
Which was a 5 plus 7. So 12 plus 7 is 19.
Sorry, that last one, my brain stopped. A 5 plus 7?
A 5 plus 2 is 7.
Is 7. Got it.
12 plus my 7 is 19 total.
Got it. 19 total damage. You fling your sliver, it impacts the shoulder. This thing digs into its meat a little bit, and as it like a detonation of force happens after your sliver falls out of it to the ground, but definitely wounding the animal.
I guess I'll swing. I'll do another one. My other sliver.
Yep, you are welcome to.
Okay.
Two weapon fighting, baby.
Can I retroact? Use my action to get my wings out.
Sure.
You
You can have your wings out. Yep.
21 to hit.
Absolutely hits.
Another 6, but I don't get. But I get only plus 2 to this because of my dueling.
Correct.
I don't get my strength. So 8
Correct.
damage on this one.
Okay.
That's it.
Got
Then,
it.
I'm going to stand in front of Toby, and that's my turn.
It's mad. Jiri, it is your turn.
All right, I'll use half my movement to get up to my feet. And then I'm going to run up in between the other half to run up in between Toby and Telperion. And I'm just going to say, I'll give it a start. And I'll put my hands together and I'll say, maybe some lightning will scare it off. And I'll slam my two hands together and make a big, loud explosion behind it.
Awesome. What spell is this? Are you using Shatter or?
Yes, Shatter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you trying to scare it, or are you including it in its radius?
I am right behind it.
Okay, got it. So is that a con save for it?
Yes.
I think it definitely fails, because I assume your thing is higher than 12.
Yep.
So it is going to take 15 thunder damage.
Yes.
And it definitely seems very startled. Having just taken 2 weapon attacks from the front, it started to retreat a little bit, and hearing that loud sound from the behind it, it actually like jumps forward very slightly, but is heavily injured by that detonation of energy.
And then I'll use my bonus action to get some pebbles ready. Although I don't think I can actually technically do that.
No, you can definitely. I think you can imbue them. Action and bonus action, cantrip.
Okay.
You can definitely imbue them with the energy. Yep.
And I'll just have them ready.
Perfect. It is going to run at the thing that it saw enter. The closest thing to it really is Telperion, the thing that injured it last. It is just going to charge you and attack you twice.
No shield, baby. 18.
It is in that space. It's going to attack you with a beak and then claws. Or
Bring
claws
it.
first.
Bring it.
And I want to refresh this page just to make sure I'm using the right stats, because D&D Beyond has been weird lately. Here we go. All right, claw attack.
Oh, fucking hits.
So it hits you for... Oh, that's weird that it didn't include that. Oh, I know why. 12 slashing damage. And then as soon as it rakes you across the front, it kind of almost pulls you in as its beak opens up and tries to pincer your neck. Natural 1 on that hit. So I don't know how you deflect that, but it does not.
I think it would just hit off my armor.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it just bites into your shoulder and just releases immediately, finding that too hard to bite through. But did you have a question also?
Yeah, so I had a sliver in hand, threw it, drew on it, threw it, and I could not have gotten my sword out because I used a free interaction to draw the second sliver, right?
Correct.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Roulette, it is your turn.
Roulette is conflicted. Oh no. I'm gonna shift to the side a little bit with Alfie. And I'm gonna not really saying it to anyone. The thing just looks hungry. God. And I'm gonna shoot a firebolt at it.
Okay, roll it.
20.
Definitely hits. Your
What?
hesitation is evident in your aim. You are very competently aiming at like its heel, and it just like brushes off the heel of this thing.
Alfie, just go shove this thing in its mouth. And I'm gonna hand Alfie a melon that we got from the field.
Okay.
And I want him to just skewer it on his foot, and then run up to the thing, and I guess he can use his action to try and force feed the melon to the owlbear.
If you command him to do so, he can absolutely try and move forward. He has already moved, so give me the full movement he's available.
I would have, I would have just, he has 40 movement total, so I would have just had him go.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Make an... I don't necessarily want this. Yeah, I don't want this to be an attack roll specifically, but you guys have engaged the creature in combat. So make an animal handling check with Alfie's stats with disadvantage.
Okay. Animal handling is wisdom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just straight D20. Six.
It is not even noticing Alfie's approach. Alfie has gotten up there, skewered a melon, and is offering it to this thing, but it is fully trying to attack Telperion, the thing that attacked it. So it is preoccupied, but Alfie is able to get up to it.
That's my turn.
Okay. Now, at this time,
The thing that was
you
chasing it.
You hear another rustling in the branches and breaking of twigs and stuff as another owlbear comes into the fray, although is significantly behind all the rest of them, but makes it to that location. Toby Ram, it is your turn.
Oh, does our friend not have a turn?
What?
Sora.
Oh shit, I didn't even roll for Sora.
The two of us. Just like consulting her note. Sora didn't go.
No, that's fine. And she would have gone first, so that's funny, but I'm not going to give her 2 turns in a row. She's just going to I'll keep this other one busy.
She was tired getting up from her cat nap.
I was just curious about I'm curious what she's doing because I want to read her reaction to the situation.
As she rushes up to this other owlbear, the one that just arrived, she like reaches her claws to the side and like enlarges her form slightly. She goes into a bestial rage, and you find small bits of yellowish magic drifting off her now enlarged claws, and her whole form seems slightly more enhanced feral than it previously was. And as she goes into a rage with her bonus action, she is going to use an action to, if I can do this, it's not with advantage, she's gonna make a grappling check and just grab onto the form of this owlbear and just keep it locked in place, not attacking it, but just engaging it in a contest of strength. Toby Ramen, your turn.
Doing my best Gallus impression.
She's Tabaxi Lady Dimitrescu or whatever the fuck that.
Oh my god, yes. Does she have a big hat?
No hat, but similarly like long fucked up claws in this current enraged state.
Doing my best Gallus impression and remembering how he liked to get on the other side of his allies. Would I go here for flanking, or here, or here?
I
can reach all three.
I would say position 2 and 3 would competently give it to Telperion. Position 1 would give it to Alfie.
Oh, I was asking for myself.
Either. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll take a hand axe attack. -1 to strength, but I'm proficient with simple weapons, which a hand axe is simple. So
That's true. So it's a hand axe +1, yeah.
Oh my god. He's daddy's weapon.
13.
Let me make sure. I think that you notice this thing whip around. As soon as you rush around it, it's following you and it tries to move. But as you come down, you barely clip its leg. You are almost too slow to injure it, but it does. It does hit.
5 slashing and 4 radiant damage.
Do you have advantage on this swing?
Yeah, you would have advantage. That was the whole thing of flanking. Yes, absolutely, you would have advantage. But you still barely hit it. You're lucky you're in an advantageous position using a weapon that you're not usually very comfortable with. That is it is currently a little too heavy for you. But yes, you cut into it for 5 slashing, and then just like you see like a singe left behind after you pull your axe free of like as if its fur was burning from fire, but it's like a magenta light coming out of the wound.
No one's
Searing it for extra radiant damage.
No one's been hit yet. So I'll just chill there. That's my turn.
Okay.
I just did 9 melee damage, guys. That's so sick.
Baby's first melee damage. Nice job.
All right, Telperion, you're up.
All right, I got my long sword. I have my long sword.
It's an okay sword.
It's an okay sword. But I'm gonna with one hand.
It's just fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw it and then chop it in the back of its like neck as it turned to look at Toby.
Yep, absolutely, and with advantage.
Yeah. I'm just playing with them. 16 plus 6 is 24.
22.
22.
Absolutely hits.
All right. So this is a D6, right? 1 plus 6, 7.
Yes, absolutely. You with your longsword, even in one hand, it should be a D8, I think.
I'm so stupid. You're right. That was weird.
This ain't sliver.
Yeah, no, I was thinking sliver. So 7 plus 6 is 13.
That's a big difference. You definitely slice exactly where kind of in the shoulder as it had turned around. You definitely cleave through it and its blood starts spilling out onto the floor and coating its own fur and feathers. Definitely injured by that strike and looking pretty rough. This beast has, especially the emaciated form of it, it's not looking like it's going to tough this out for much longer.
I'm going to try to put it out of its misery, I guess, while I have advantage. I don't know. Bad taking that from Jerry. No, Jerry can go hit the other one, I guess. I'm going to action surge and try to hit it one more time.
Okay, go for it.
Probably should have psionics on that one, but I didn't. Okay. Nat 20.
Holy shit. Yeah, roll damage. I think that'll hit.
Yeah. So that's a D8. So 2D8.
2D8 plus 6.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7. 7 plus 6.
Another 13.
Another 13.
Another 13. It reels in pain and growls loudly, but it does not quite fall.
Psionic.
Yeah, go for it. Another 2D8, right?
2D6.
I rolled 2 nat 6s on the 2D6s. So that's another
12.
12
plus 2, right?
Yeah. So 14.
As you clean through its where you were aiming for, and it like staggers and almost falls up to the floor. But as it tries to get itself up, it just that detonation of force knocks it to the ground, and it falls limply.
It's one of those like those electric knives that vibrate really fast, and like as soon as the sword was in, it just goes.
Yes.
Oh, a sawzall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although sometimes I picture it as like it hits and the force is like like outward immediately. Yeah, sorry, beast. That's my turn.
Okay.
Actually, I guess I'll move too, since I could go help.
You hear kind of the death rattle of this thing as it falls to the ground, the kind of low guttural growl that just fades into silence.
Everyone's trying to figure out how far the next one is.
That's my turn. Then I'll move over there.
Sora, before Jiri goes, Sora is going to use her reaction to shout, "Food! Does anyone have food?"
I got some. The little robot friend has some.
That's all she says. Jiri, it is your turn.
Jiro will be like, I got it, and he'll hop over the sphere here, grabbing.
Yeah,
the
you can move through an
watermelon
ally
off of
space.
it.
So yeah, perfect.
I'll grab the
Free
watermelon,
interaction. Yeah.
and I'm just gonna run up to right next to her, and I'm gonna hand her the watermelon. And be
Okay.
like, here you go. Here's food.
Okay, perfect. Anything with a bonus or otherwise?
Nope.
Okay. It is now this owlbear's turn, and it is going to essentially being held back, restrained from. It's like probably chomping forward towards Sora, but Sora's like holding it away from her. I'm gonna make it do a athletics check against Sora. It rolled an 18. What will she roll? Oh, that doesn't look like it came through. Oh, there it is. So even with her in slightly enlarged form, and her muscles are rippling right now, and you see how hard she's trying to restrain this enormous figure from pushing back on her. But as she's trying to hold it back, it does push far enough to get an attack off. So it is going to attack her with its beak. So I go back to that, and it's going to try and bite her twice. And it does so, even with her being a rather physically imposing form, it does bite her twice on the kind of shoulder area for this and then this. But you see, although this thing is like, should be tearing into her, her form seems enhanced in a way that it is doing less damage. It's not tearing into her shoulder like it should be, although it does rip part of her cloak. But she takes 10 total damage from all of that. Then it becomes Roulette's turn.
We should have just been feeding this thing. She's gonna run up to Alfie, hand Alfie another melon. I'm assuming we got more than two. Or
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
I said a handful per.
A large apple. Alfie, go. I don't know. Go try and feed this thing again. And Alfie's gonna have to do. Alfie wants to roll into someone, but no. Alfie's gonna roll up to here, and try and force feed an owlbear again.
Okay. With the second attempt at not just offering, but trying to force feed it, go ahead and have Alfie make an attack roll.
Oh, what is my attack roll? It's plus. What is my force and power to my spell attack modifier, which is +4. 9.
Again.
It shoves the melon, but it is like so engaged with Sora. Once again, it's kind of the same effect as last time. Is it's like when it's fighting the thing in front of it, it's very hard to distract it or get it to focus on something else. So it's like Alfie's like shoving it up against the side of the thing's face, much like Mozzie would do to any dog he ever plays with.
I'll throw a single firebolt as my action, because the bonus action was doing Alfie.
Okay.
$13?
Just hits. You barely like your shot is almost dangerously close to between Jiri and Sora, but it does go through them and hit the kind of the rear leg of the owlbear. For 8 fire?
8 fire.
All right. It singes kind of the hind legs of this creature. Sora, engaged in this grappling contest with this thing, is gonna like try and with one arm push it back, and with her other arm reach out to Jiri and accept the melon you grabbed from Alfie, and kind of hold it up almost forcefully into the creature's mouth. I'm gonna give her a animal handling check with disadvantage,
She's wise.
and see what happens here.
19 and 18.
Pretty good. Because of that roll, I'm gonna give the owlbear. It's not quite enough to fully dissuade the whole situation, but I'm gonna give the owlbear a roll here.
My little pug, we appreciate having you. Oh,
Wow.
He eats
Is
it
that
really
good or
fast.
bad?
As the owlbear is like trying to gnash at Sora, and Sora forces almost like her hand dangerously close to getting damaged in the thing's mouth. She shoves it into the mouth, and as it chews down, it definitely is chomping down on the thing in the melon that you guys shoved into its mouth, that Sora shoved into its mouth. And its posture relaxes very slightly. But that is Sora's turn. Toby, it is your turn.
I will from here. Ooh, what language? Celestial? I'll just say common.
I'm gonna give you an intelligence check in this split second.
Intelligence check.
oh, I thought it was 18.
It was very close to being an 18.
Nothing.
Nothing of note.
I will cast command, and I will shout to the owl bear and say, "Eat."
Okay. As you utter your phrase to your incantation for this magic, you just see no reaction as it falls on deaf ears for a creature that cannot understand any language. These things have very low intelligence, are considered very dumb, and command does not take hold in its mind if it does not understand the language.
Okay.
That's what your intelligence check was going to be. And so retroactively, you're like, oh, these things are too dumb to literally understand any version of language. So you have that realization right after that command did not take hold.
Okay.
But Telperion, it is your turn.
Is there any food around us?
There's Alfie is currently trying to shove something into the owlbear's mouth.
I'm gonna.
and you might have some at your pouch or so, but
I feel like I'd have a ration on me. Like I'd have some.
well, you probably do have rations in general, but also I don't know if you gathered stuff from
I did.
earlier, but
I'm just gonna take
Yes.
out. Yeah, let's just say I have an apple. Like I just would.
I already did apple.
Okay, well I could have had an apple. Okay. I take out an apple and I try to put it in there myself.
okay. With its current position, I would say its aggression in this moment neutralized by eating food and realizing it was just given food. You can roll a straight animal handling check, no disadvantage.
Deal. Rolled a 15 plus 0. Flat 15.
You see it sniff if a beak could sniff. It's a weird biological situation, but you see it take notice of it and turn its gaze to you. But it
Okay.
can't do anything until it's turn,
Yeah,
really.
I just sit there holding this apple. That's all.
Okay. Jiri, your turn.
I'm gonna help the cat try to like I basically just want to like aid her in her like grabbing this thing, and maybe I'm
Okay.
gonna like try to hold like grab onto its mouth in some way, or just like help her like kind of wrestle this thing, and
Okay.
in a way of more like managing it from being too violent towards anybody else.
Got it. I'm going to give her just just a check real quick. Okay. Okay, that's what you do. It is the owlbear's turn. As it starts to sniff, hesitantly, it bites toward your hand. Make a general dex check for me.
Yes. Curled to 4 plus 2, so 6. No, plus
As
1, so 5 total.
As it grabs the apple from you, you do take 1 point of piercing damage, as it definitely did nip part of your hand, but otherwise it takes the fruit from your hand and starts chewing it. And then just like in a moment of fear, backs up 5 feet.
Opportunity
If
attacks.
you guys want, yeah, if you want, this can continue, but otherwise it may evolve in a different way than combat.
I'll take out a melon and I'll roll it to it.
It kind of paws at it and then leans down and just starts going to town on it.
Oh, I feel really bad. I killed you. The other one.
I'll dump 2 healing words into it.
Into the dead one?
No, into the living one.
Okay. The living one, it's minor wounds and kind of the seared skin towards the back of it where fire had impacted it. You see that start to slowly heal. But otherwise, it is going to continue backing up slowly, like 5 feet every couple seconds. And Sora just kind of puts her arms out in gestures for you guys to stand still. And slowly but surely, the beast makes its way away. Rushing off, not slowly. It kind of backs up slowly, and as soon as it turns, it runs. But, yep, that kind of concludes that combat.
I go over to the dead one, and in Elvish, I say, "Gohen Onin," which means, I guess half you know what it means. Forgive me.
Sora walks up to kind of behind you guys and says, "You are competent in battle, but always offer food first." And then she just kind of walks back to her mat, not even regarding the creature in the middle of your clearing camping ground, but just sits on her mat.
Since the last 2 hours we need is like the light activity.
Light activity, yeah.
I might spend that just gathering simple stones and kind of piling them around the body and doing a simple like funeral mound.
Okay. Sure. That's certainly not strenuous activity. So yeah, all of you guys have, Telperion, you're already full rested, but Jiri and Tobirama and Roulette, you guys you have successfully slept enough time. You only need to sleep 6 hours and then an additional 2 hours of light activity. So you can amuse yourselves over this light activity period, however long you want, or however you wish to do so. But no one needs to necessarily go back to sleep. And Sora kind of emphasizes that too, feeling well rested, just kind of sitting on her mat, kind of.
I'm gonna psionic pulse and heal 8.
Okay.
And then short rest.
Perfect. You are welcome to do so.
Oh, and also psionic recovery before my short rest to get one of my.
Okay, sounds good.
Can I try and retrieve some feathers from this owlbear?
For sure. Yeah, make a, I think, nature check.
Nature. 19.
Yeah, I don't want to force this on Roulette, but I do often think of you as someone who, like, some humans are like, they went hard on dinosaurs when they were kids. Like, they just like knew all the names, all the different dinosaurs. I feel like Roulette just like studied all the animals when she was younger. In addition to just generally being a genius, you're just like very knowledgeable about random stuff. And so like you very successfully are like, you know, the biology of these things, and you're able to very successfully pick out. Roll me 4d10.
Oh.
a lot of the feathers are damaged and cut through and smeared with blood and otherwise damaged in some regard, but you're able to
25.
very successfully get 25 owlbear feathers.
Dunka.
I'm going to summon Shadow Moby, and him and I are going to help Toby pile some rocks.
Okay. What do you do when you conjure Shadow Moby consciously? Do the others see this? It's going to functionally become invisible, but I'm just curious what you're doing in this process.
Can it not be visible? Can I make it so that it is visible?
You might be able to like lazily cast the spell in a way that you're not focusing on making it invisible, but I do think the nature of the spell is mostly invisible or barely perceptible.
Okay.
But they might be able to, with your guidance, say, oh, this is him right here. So they might be able to get little glimpses of the general form of this thing.
I'm just gonna say like out loud to like no one in particular. Okay, Moby, let's help Toby here stack some stones. He needs our help.
Perfect. You are able to do so, and given your direction, Toby, Rama, certainly with your passive perception, and the other two, if you are interested in paying attention, Sora is not paying attention. You see Jiri helping gather stones, and you see just invisibly stones kind of floating over and being set down and stuff wherever Jiri is directing
Jiri
them
shivering?
to. Yes, probably. I don't know if Jiri's physically shivering, but Jiri, you do feel a sensation of a chill come over you. It's subtle,
cold.
but
Telperion, are you doing that?
Doing what?
Those rocks. You moving those?
No, that one's not me.
Did you teach Jerry how to do it? I taught him how to make a lightning sword, but I didn't know how. He's a quick learner on some stuff.
So, Jerry, are you using magic right now?
No.
And what is this?
That is my friend Moby. You've met him before.
When?
Remember the other day, I was trying to have him meet you. Remember? We were going to play a game together, but then we decided to duel instead.
Sure.
Well, this is Moby, right? Like Moby, you know, my best friend. He helps me out all the time.
As one of the stones is floating towards the mound, I'll go over and try and like put my arm, not in front of the rock, but in front of something that would be holding the rock would be.
I literally don't know enough about the spell to know if you feel anything.
I wonder if I just
Yada,
feel
yada,
the
yada.
sensation of the heat that normally.
I learned anything from the 2000 hit movie Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon. We can throw paint on it and then see it.
Invisible, mindless, shapeless, medium force. I think you do feel a sensation, Toby Rama, of like, not like you're patting the physical body of someone, but it's almost probably like the air elemental. You can tell when you're moving something through its form, it feels like there's more resistance to the air, but it's still, your hand does still go through it.
And the way I think the way we're flavoring it is it's more kind of like air, like in the air than like force. It's more like a disturbance.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So, Jiri, then does that make this Moby 4 since Moby 3 is on Roulette's hip?
No, I think this has always been Moby.
Well, then what about the kid?
Yeah, I guess I think I've realized I attributed some things that the real Moby did, that it was not actually the kid Moby.
Was Moby actually his name?
The little boy?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Great answer.
It could have been.
And we'll just keep working on this till.
Are we going to cover the whole thing?
Yeah, that's the intent.
Hmm.
Just to make a burial mound to allow it to decompose and
A burial mound.
Yeah.
Quick back of the envelope. This thing is like 8 to 10 feet long, 5 feet high.
Yeah, it's large.
Well, I just liked the pun of burial mound. I
Oh,
don't know if that's what you intended. But I will say, wouldn't it be more of an honor to its life, since it died starving, to let it feed other beasts and not cover it all the way?
I was more thinking it could feed the forest.
Does
It could
meat
feed
the
us.
forest?
Well, it's as decomposes into the ground.
I think we should take one of its legs.
I did want to skin some of its meat, but Toby seems attached, and I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go catch a quick nap.
Toby, I will say, is rather intent on doing this.
All right.
Just secretly take one of its legs. Tell Piran when he's not looking.
I'm just gonna let this one go. But I will help get some rocks with Toby.
With all of you guys' aid, something that may have become more of a strenuous task than you would think for one person, but with a couple people's aid and Moby's aid as well, you guys are able to, over the course of an hour or so, gather enough loose rocks in the area and pebbles and other large pieces of slate that may be randomly dispersed through the ground, and functionally cover the form of this thing.
Here.
It takes a while because it is a large
Here,
form, but
I found what I wanted. Will that link work? Yes.
yep, very cool. You do this exactly, but about 5 or 6 times the size. Does take a little bit of time, but at the end of your additional 2 hours of light activity, you guys all functionally have completed another long rest after your first full day of travel.
I used the psionic recovery, so now I have all 4 of my psionic dice back because I used 2 in the fight, then 1 recovery before and after.
You also just finished oh, I see what you're saying. Perfect. So you guys finish your long rest, and it is once again morning. Especially in this clearing, you are getting some glimpses of light from far above that are almost eerily like the cave fissures, thin silk strands drifting in the dark lake tunnels. Thin strands of gold are making their way down to the forest floor.
Alfie is triggered. Sora, you want to lead the way? Which way are we headed?
Same way. Let's go.
Be on.
All right. I would like all of you guys to once again roll a D100 each for the second day of travel.
Should we go in opposite order that we did it the first time?
Sure. Jiri, you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. 20. Oh, no. 71.
We'll go back to our forest background vibe. 71, you say? You all encounter a rather strange sensation as you guys are proceeding. You all smell the kind of increasing scent of rainfall, and you're hearing it, but you're not getting a whole lot of rain on you. Perhaps it's the nature of the dense canopy above in this specific area, or perhaps there's other variables at play, but you guys are essentially walking through a forest sound machine of rain right now without being exposed to any wet. Just rather odd, but does not slow your travel, does not really make you give any discomfort or etc. But
I'm just loving it.
Probably rather peaceful.
I'll say just out loud to everyone, oh, Love being back here.
Was Toby Rama the second to last person for D100?
Michael Kennedy just checked his breast pockets on his t-shirt.
Yes. Let's do that. As
It's
I
me.
72.
No way.
Yeah.
Rains harder.
72. You guys continue walking, and although you have periodically seen very small, thin streams of water that may kind of cut across your path in various terrain, that maybe there's a small dip where some very small, thin body of water is kind of flowing through. As you guys are walking for a period of time, you aren't seeing any of those, but you come across just a fish flopping around in the middle of the land, live, not near any version of water.
It's a magic carp.
Did you say a magic carp?
Yeah.
So it's just on the forest floor.
Yep, just a flopping fish that's alive on the dirt.
Joey, where's your bottle?
My bottle is full of air.
Look at endless
have-
bottle of water. Or your
Oh,
thing.
that one. Oh, yes. I have many bottles. It's right here. We should save this fish. It may grant us wishes.
Yeah, pull the decanter on it.
Okay. Splash.
Should we dig a hole or something first?
Yeah. I'll dig a
Yeah,
hole.
as
Sorry.
as you splash it, what happens first? Did you truly splash it first, or are you trying to dig a hole first?
I like Roulette's idea.
Well,
I'll dig a
Roulette-
hole first.
Yeah, Roulette probably said something, so we dig a hole
Alfie,
first.
Alfie, dig.
Okay, Alfie is able to quickly dig in a rather symmetrical, like a radial symmetrical bowl that only a machine can truly pull off. You dig a hole.
Yeah, put the fish in it.
And I'll use Kyra to move the fish into the hole.
Splash.
Is Splash the smallest version
Yeah.
that does one gallon of water, right?
Mhm.
As it sits in this bowl and you do a splash, the splash of water does coat the fish and just kind of sits beneath it, but it's not enough water to fill up the hole or lift up the fish in a way where it can swim around. It's still like is splashing on the ground, flopping around.
Splash.
If you continue to do this and fill up the hole slowly, the fish will have enough water to successfully just exist in that little hole, and it's just going to do loops.
Isn't there a middle one on the decanter, or is it just splash and hydro pump?
No, there's water gun.
Oh,
But Jiri's like filling it up slowly at a time.
Why was this fish here?
no idea.
Look up.
It's a good thought. You can make a perception check.
Ten.
There's a lot of tree limbs above you.
I'm gonna talk to the fish in primordial in the best Aquan I can manage, even though I speak.
Okay, so
Orin.
you adjust your Orin dialect to try and pull off Aquan.
There's more S's.
Yeah, I say, how'd you get here? Just yeah.
Oh, so it's not flopping anymore. It's just swimming. Just in a circle in a small dome of water.
What kind of fish is it? Is it just like what does it look like?
Like a very simple like bass with like silver scales, very nondescript.
What do we think? Do we kill it and eat it?
Let's
Make your
maybe we
decision. Whatever your decision, make it quickly.
we could put it in one of the wet skins and keep it.
Do you think it can breathe air? Maybe we could just put it in a bag and dump it into the next water we find.
MK, you're on mute. Still on mute.
But who knows how long it lasted? Let's look at looking at the ground. Is this area like where did it look like it had been flopping there for a long time? Like it was padded on the ground?
Make an investigation or a survival check.
I rolled a 15 plus 4, 19 investigation.
It's really high. Seeing where you saw it in the first place, there's probably like a 20-foot radius around this thing where it definitely has matted the land a little bit. So it has definitely been flopping and moving around for bits of time. You're not sure if that may have happened over the last 5 minutes or more, but
let's take it with us and we can try. I don't know what we're going to put it in though. We don't have a bucket or anything.
Alfie, carry it.
Can we pour some water on Alfie and then it can go in?
No, Alfie is not a fishbowl.
Fishbowl.
Actually,
yes, Steve.
no, I know I forget if nope, I did not do this out loud. Making Alfie watertight was a thing I wrote on notes at some point, but I don't think I did it. I did not do it. I mean, the thing has been flopping around. Let's just carry it. If it dies, then we'll put it in some more water.
All right, I like it. Dude, make Alfie hold it. It's not very dignified.
Okay.
I got a good idea. I'll just keep splashing water on it as we walk.
Perfect.
Let's make our trail really easy to follow.
You, Udinil, pay attention to the most strange things.
You're not interested in this magic fish in the forest?
It looks like dinner to me.
But it was
How did it
breathing.
get here? It's a mystery.
All right.
We have a task at hand.
We walk forward with Alfie now holding a flopping fish.
So to be clear, Alfie is holding a flopping fish with, I'm thinking Alfie's like mechanical spider-like legs have like the ability to fork and like hold this thing. And he's just holding it dangling, and Jiri is every couple seconds splashing it with water.
Chopsticks.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, I
Well, we
guess
could do-
Alfie can chopstick it while rolling, I suppose. Yeah.
We could take Toby's shield and put some water in it and let the fish flop in the watery shield. No, my shield won't. It's not watertight. It won't work. I mean, look at this. It wouldn't work. So we proceed with Toby's shield. We got the little skittering machine.
Toby's pretty tired.
What are we talking about? I can levitate it.
That works as well.
I levitate the shield with a little bit of water and the fish in it.
why don't you just levitate like a block of water?
You
But
try to levitate a metal shield
It's
filled
heavy.
with water, and it's like you're struggling to keep it up, and it's just slowly descending to the ground. It's slightly out of your weight limit of what Kair can accomplish.
All right. Alfie it is. Let's proceed till we find a river.
Alfie's holding a fish.
Okay, very well. He was holding it. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, okay, I was right about the shield. A shield is 6 pounds. Full of water is going to weigh it down. It's going to be outside your 10-pound limit of Kair. But Alfie is holding the fish. Jiri's periodically splashing it with water, trying to keep it alive. Someone roll me a d20.
9.
Now roll me a d10.
10.
11 minutes after you do this strategy, the flopping stops.
Dinner it is.
This is so
Very
sad.
well. Hold on to it.
Alfie will continue holding the dead fish.
Awesome. Someone else give me, is it Steve's turn? Roulette's turn to roll me a D100?
29. You find more fish.
I want to roll back to right before it died. I was asking Jerry, if we put it in a river and it comes alive and it like offers you a wish, what would you wish for? Oh God! And then I want it to die.
Probably, I would wish to have my throne back, to go back to Jawland, for my sword to be recharged, for my dad to come back to life, and for Moby and us to always hang out forever. All of that would be my one wish.
That's a lot of weight for one wish from a fish.
What would you wish for?
Can it die at this moment?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, too late, Tiberian. You don't get your wish.
Oh, I forgot. I didn't wish quickly enough.
Just as you guys are having this conversation, an arrow flies across your path and embeds itself in a tree off to your left.
Everyone get down. Everyone get down.
Slithers out.
Down. Everyone, if you're listening or trying to ascertain the situation, give me a perception check.
We're gonna take a break on this one. 21.
Sora's got an extra +4 on that, so it's a 9. 21. Sora is frantically looking side to side and not being able to see where this is coming from. Telperion, you specifically notice the slightly downward angle of this arrow, and you think to look up. And as you look up and off to the side, you see rustling of leaves moving, getting further away from you.
If I could fly, I'd go that way, and I'd chase whatever just shot at us. I pointed out to y'all.
Perhaps some hunter. Interesting why they would take a shot at us and then flee. But perhaps they saw movement, struck quickly, and decided it was not a favorable matchup for them. Who's to say?
I pull the arrow out and look at it.
Make an investigation check.
16.
Or history, doesn't matter which. Very clearly of wood elven make.
Michael Jacoby is so excited.
I was thinking about Rebecca. I don't think I'll tell that to the group.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
wood elven craft and smith work and fletching, and they have a very, generally speaking, they all have somewhat of a unique and widespread style that you just identify very quickly. There are sleek features to it, but it's also, they contain aggressive features too. Like some very sleek, nice elven features, but like the edge of the arrowhead is like jagged and hooked so that it can't be quick. If it's pulled out of an animal, it would further injure the animal, for example.
As I'm like realizing it's wood elven, I'm gonna yell and I'll say, Hanana Lendagor, which means thank you for the arrow in Elvish.
Easy with that shouting. That could get us in trouble.
More trouble than this.
Well,
at least I'm announcing I'm an elf. Just repeated it there.
Very well. We must away. Come. Telperion, I think it is your turn for D100.
It's true. 31.
You guys are rolling so close to each other.
Little pug. Ours wouldn't win.
Can I ask Telperion, Telperion, what's your favorite part of the forest since you're back in it? What did you miss the most?
What I miss the most we haven't gotten to, which would be where I live. But I love the presence of the life of the woods, and that you can feel the age of these trees, about the emerald trees here. Some of these trees, I mean, very long lived. That's all.
What was your roll of 31? As you guys continue to walk forward on a rather wide and open path, the canopy above is still so dense and sprawling with the branch work that it's still dark, but the bases, the stems of trees and stuff are at least a little more spread out in this area. This has happened to you before when you all were resting, I believe, the first night. But you're suddenly struck by the like suffocating quiet in this particular area. And looking all around you, you see like foliage that seems, looking back behind you specifically, it seems like foliage is denser than what you feel like you just walked past. A little unnerving and eerie, but nothing of immediate alarm or concern.
I'll trigger detect magic again and just see if I see those same tree neural network things.
Sure. As you cast detect magic, your kind of vision opens up a little bit and you see very clearly an illusion of dense foliage around you that just kind of mists away as soon as you're opening your eyes to it.
Everyone, hold on. Something's weird about these trees here. Do I, like, once the illusion fades away, do I see like a path or anything distinct beyond the illusory terrain?
It seems for the most part like the illusion has faded away entirely, and there's nothing behind it other than the path you guys had just traversed from. However, you are like out of the barest hint of your peripherals, you're catching glimpses of like little dots of mist in the general area behind you. And as you wait, they are slowly moving toward you, very slowly, like a foot every 10 seconds or so, like an incredibly slowly moving mist drifting in your direction.
Is only Roulette noticing that?
Yes, with the enhanced detect magic up, yes.
I want to ask the question, does the mist look threatening? But I feel like that's not a question I can ask because you can't really answer that.
You can ask it. I absolutely don't have an answer for that if it looks threatening. Does mist ever look threatening? I don't know.
Scary mist?
And it's like, mist is almost too strong of a word for it because it's not densely packed particles of like liquid hovering in the air. It's like very sporadic, but it's like enough of them that it does give the illusion of, not the illusion, it does give the
appearance,
general appearance, thank you, of like a shifting fluid of air moving toward you.
We should keep moving forward. There's some like cloud of misty puffballs or something behind us. I don't know how we didn't hit them when we came through, but they seem to be following us, but we should just keep going. So there's something about all of this is kind of an illusion around us, but we're safe going forward.
Jerry, get out the fan.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, Jerry, just kind of point it that direction and just blow.
Yeah.
As soon as you issue the command word and bellow the gust of wind like a tunnel pushes all of that back away. The general mist width was wider than the 10 feet tunnel that the gust fan can hit, but as soon as it blasts away this tunnel through the middle of it, the rest of it kind of like like air
Negative
fluid
pressure.
and air would, it gets sucked into the middle and then it is issued further with it as well. Exactly like negative pressure. Bernoulli's principle.
Yes.
Classic.
Yeah, Jerry, you cleared it up, whatever it was. Let's Sora, apologies for the delay. Let's just keep moving forward.
That was the least amount of time we've wasted in all of our travels so far. That was quick. Good job. Let's keep going.
I should have killed him.
And you all continue forward. You guys continue on and are able to. It's starting to wind down in the day, getting toward dusk again, and if anyone wants, Sora will begin to do so, but you guys can roll survival if you want to try and find a location that seems safe to sleep. Okay.
Well, that does not help. There it is, Jerry.
Oh God.
Jiri, okay, I hate when I do this too often of jumping in and like narrating the situation, but I feel like Jiri just saw a spot and was like, why don't we do there? And then Toby Rama and Sora kind of went up to it and are like, you know what, this will actually work. Like
Yeah, exactly.
You guessed correctly, and it seems competent for sure.
Or Jerry just lies down in a spot, and they're like,
Doesn't say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. What are you doing? Actually, this could work. And as you guys kind of wind down and start to get out your bedrolls and any rations and just kind of wind your night down, it strikes you that after the amount of travel so far, today is mid-DOS, the 11th of Frostfall, which means it's weird to believe so, but it has been a full week since you guys started to really mobilize and evacuate the people of Forest Hollow. Like that first day, you had your meeting with the matriarchs in Gallus and Rhea on that Tuesday, that tier DOS, but on mid DOS last week was the beginning of your real effort to mobilize everyone and clear off the path to the ruins and escort everyone there. It's been a full week since that, which feels strange. But you guys are all welcome to bed down and share a conversation or go right to bed or whatever you'd like.
I'm gonna do my little ritual again with the sword and trying the sliver thing.
Okay. Give me another attack roll with disadvantage.
God, I rolled an 8 and a 2. So 2 plus 6 is 8.
So this one, you felt on the previous success, let's say, that your aim was true, but you need to be able to do it quicker. This time you do it so quickly that your aim flies off to the side, not hitting the tree you were aiming for. Emphasizing that there's definitely, you'll keep practicing and potentially get better at this, but it is an awkward motion for now, but could definitely aid your combat in the future to be able to access a throwing weapon so quickly. I'm going to give Sora a nature check. I would like Toby Rama and Telperion to also make a nature check.
Is this herbalism or just...
No herbalism. $17, that's good. Telperion, Toby Rama, you don't notice anything in the nearby trees that's giving you pause, but Telperion, you notice Sora kind of bouncing from tree to tree in your vicinity, kind of like with her hand on her lower jaw, just kind of stroking it, seemingly like hesitant or concerned about something. And if you get up and go over to her, you kind of see the source of her curiosity, and she seems to be looking at a series of marks, like slash marks along the bottom of several of these trees, not all of them in your vicinity, but some of them. And she's like contemplating, and as soon as you see it, you identify that as famously, that you know of, there's patterns where in areas where centaurs have grounds and territories, they mark many of their trees with these kind of gash marks. This is very clearly done in a pattern that you're like, oh, that tree must have been marked by a centaur. If it was in the last 30 minutes, 2 hours, 200 days, no idea. But Sora seems to identify it as something strange, but can't quite place it. But you identify it as definitely centaur territory markings. And again, as she kind of, I don't know if you're going along with her to all the trees, but essentially several trees in one area, one corner of the clearing you guys are set up in have those marks. None of the rest of the trees do.
I'm gonna say we should probably sleep by the trees that don't have the marks because those are centaur territory markings.
That is what it was. I could not recall what these markings were. Centaurs, yes. As long as we don't proceed into their territory, we should be okay. They certainly don't. They're intelligent creatures and don't go out of their way to hunt unsuspecting people that are not influencing or intruding on their lands. I agree. Let's shift our bedrolls just to the other side of the clearing.
And also, everyone sleep with the knowledge that you might get woken up because we have a visitor.
Elf. Good eye.
Mike should go away smiling, but Telperion would be like,
Is she hitting on you?
Otherwise, you guys are all able to situate for the night. Jiri, specifically in your head, you hear a voice that says, I don't know if now's the right time or if there's others, but have you considered trying to break through the wall with Jiri again? Jax is able to hear that even within Jiri's mind.
I haven't had a chance to get Toby by himself yet, but I guess we could try. I don't know what I'd say to them to make them trust me. Any good ideas?
Based on my own insights, I suspect they wouldn't turn down increased competency that you would lend them. But it is clear they worry for Jiri's safety. It must be emphasized that this process of letting you out and using your capabilities and better wielding my magics would not put Jiri in any harm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, lie to them. Good idea. We're going the wrong direction also, by the way. I think we're heading south, is what I heard. We want to be going north, right? I don't know. We're going to have to, get them to turn around, maybe? Or do you think we should just play along for now?
I wonder. I do wish to go to the north, back to that place where we first bonded. But I don't even know quite what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one who did this, but how to find that person, I have no way of knowing. I don't have enough information to suggest we abandon this course of action, and perhaps we could learn more on the way. As long as we make our way northward at some point, I don't personally see an issue with riding this wave for a while.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll let them know. We won't hurt Jiri, but it'd probably be better for me to be in charge. Good plan.
Very good. Very good. Anyone doing anything specific going to bed?
I did my thing.
I am making quick sketches on how to craft a grappling hook. Just the metal part. I'm not going to do it in the forest, but I have
I'm curious because I'm sure grappling hooks as a device might exist. Roulette might have seen the idea of a grappling hook, but if you're customizing some kind of nature of it, I might want some version of a roll from you on an intelligence basis. But if you're just sketching the idea of a grappling hook for attachment to Alfie or some other idea going on in your head, let me know.
It is going to be specifically for Alfie. And I kind like the idea got into Roulette's head from the terrifyingly triggering cave grabby things. Basically the idea of like having a long rope and then having something at the end of it that can attach to something and being able to pull it in.
Make an intelligence check for me. Wow. You're pondering, you're sketching, theorizing. Then you realize the trick here is with your mace, the magical components and rune work on the motor to retract that back to your mace after you fling it out required a motor that was capable of power generation to pull back, the bob of your flail, which is, a couple pounds, 2 or 3 or 4 pounds for the metal head of that device. You're realizing to be able to pull something toward Alfie or pull Alfie's form towards something who weighs probably slightly more than a typical humanoid would require a very powerful motor. And then a very minor thought occurs to you that, and if you could make a motor that's strong enough to pull a large hunk of metal, you could do that to a human too. And like craft like a series of automatically retractable like directional gear. It's a possibility that could exist.
I'm thinking
just you're sketching and you're thinking of Alfie, and then just because of your high roll, another thought just occurs to you, just a little seed inception and deep in your brain.
I'll text you about that later because I think I know what you're referencing, but I want to make okay. Yeah. Okay.
But otherwise, your sketches go very well. Anything else from anyone? Nothing? Just bedding down? Sora will come over to Telperion. Elf, do you think you could take first shift? Today was... I am a bit more weary than I thought I may be. I would like to rest first, but otherwise, I can take the back end of the shift.
Certainly. Rest up.
She starts to walk away and then just kind of hangs her head and says, "Thank you," and continues off to sit down on her mat and curl up like curl up on the mat like a cat would. Very fetal, dog-like feline.
Alarm.
Canine or feline. You set up your alarm perimeter. You're able to do so, and you all are welcome to bed down for the night. Telperion, as you are on your watch, give me 2 things. Give me a perception check and an intelligence check.
This is the perception. This is the intelligence.
Sure.
All right. The perception was a 14.
Okay.
Intelligence was a 20.
On the 14 perception, you're just kind of doing rounds in your general vicinity, kind of keeping a 30-foot radius or so around the group. Nothing strikes you as particularly dangerous or a threat. Various distant sounds of like a cawing bird or maybe a snap of a twig that you like kind of hold your breath for a moment, but nothing journeys up to your area. then as you're walking, you are starting to increase the radius with which you are patrolling, and you stop for a minute, having a glimpse of memory that like, oh shit, if I walk too far, I might trigger Roulette's alarm and wake her up. So you just kind of like, you're starting to want to venture out further, but you hold yourself back from doing that.
Okay. Okay.
But otherwise, you are able to finish your watch. No significant news. I actually do want to pull up the alarm spell just because I am curious of because that may not, you have that thought that cross your mind.
But it might not be
But
right.
I don't know yeah, exactly. The way the spell works, that might not be an issue. Yes. Okay. So understood. That's good for my own knowledge. So Roulette may have set this up in a way that that would not be an issue. But you just like kind of hold yourself back from exploring too far. But you finish your couple-hour watch, and if you shake Sora awake, she will wake up, but she's currently sleeping.
I'm gonna wake her up. Well, how long? It was 4 hours, right? Oh no.
Yeah, you would, for your own situation. You know you have to rest for 4 or transfer 4. So yeah, 4 hours in, you might consider waking her up.
Okay, I will, but I'll tell her, if you like, we can have one of the others do the patrol. Doesn't always have to be on you. You've been keeping yourself up and doing a lot of the work.
I would like to get perhaps another 2 hours of sleep or so. What about that one, the quiet one? Could he take a shift?
Yeah, he's very perceptive.
Very well. Have him wake me. I will want to take a shift and contribute, but very well. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go wake Toby. How you doing? We could use a 2 hour shift from you, and then you'd wake Sora at the end of that. Do you mind? You're hanging in there otherwise? Well, I'm glad you keep the axe near you. You did? That's great. I've lost people in battle before, so if you want to talk, just let me know. All right. Then I'll go meditate.
As you set up for your trance, and Toby, you begin your watch, give me a perception check.
The perceptive one.
Good.
Because of the natural one, I'm going to dig my fingers in a little bit. You hear sporadic noises in your surroundings. Sometimes they make you uncomfortable. Sometimes they are just, in a weird way, comforting sounds of wildlife off in the distance, existing in the forest. You start to get distracted, thinking of Gallus, thinking of your God who has chosen you and trusted you with some version of judgment over death. Maybe even frustration that you are not at a level or capability set that would afford you the ability to prevent that from having happened. And you look down just in a moment of distraction, and you're clutching your breastplate, your pocket, very tightly and feeling a dramatically warm sensation from the medallion held within that pocket. Very much so, yeah. And it just feels like a comforting, almost like a heartbeat, just a warm, like a very subtle pulsation of warmth coming from it. Perfect. You're leaving it in your breast pocket the whole time, not taking it out necessarily? Okay, you're not taking it out. You do have one answer that comes to your mind as you are thinking of those questions. You do recall, it seems like it was yesterday, but Gallus walking with you through town, and when he handed this to you, had mentioned that this was Nadia's before she died. So in terms of how long he had it, who knows how long he was aware of its existence, but perhaps he has held on to it, given by the matriarch's blessing, the ability to hang on to this since Nadia's death some 12 years ago or so. But otherwise, you shake yourself and you go wake Sora. Yes, anything of interest. Very well. Get some sleep, quiet one. Sleep takes you very gently and easily. No dreams lately. No dreams in the past couple nights. And over the next couple hours, you all are able to wake. You all successfully complete your long rest. And you are able to wake.
I don't know if we can go back for this, but could Jax try to break down the wall between him and Jiri? Like force his way out?
For sure, yeah. And if he gives indication to the other entity in your mind, that entity can help facilitate this, and it would be no role required. This is going to be able to work in tandem between Jax and that entity.
All right, so we tag team and we wrestle Jiri out of control. We throw him to the back, and Jax comes forwards, and he knows he doesn't have a lot of time. He like wakes up, and like the breath comes out of Jiri's mouth, covers his face. I was hoping it would be during the time that Toby Rama's on guard duty, but might not.
That's totally fine. Yeah, you could have woken up, and maybe the entity was even not quite sleeping and gave you a little push of, quick, the quiet one is awake for his watch at this time. This may be the perfect moment.
And he's going to go and he's going to sit down next to Toby. And he's going to say, hi there, Toby. How are you? He's going to say, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about Gallus. It's too bad I wasn't there to help out. I think things might have gone differently. Yeah. Too bad, too bad. Well, I guess, what do you want out of this now? Revenge? I feel like that's what
Jiri wants, but is that the same thing that you want? Hmm. I can understand that. Yeah, wanting to protect your friends. One thing that could help protect them is, somebody that can really help out more often in battle. Well, if you run up against something as dangerous as the Arknight here in the woods, you might want me watching your back and your friend's back rather than Jiri. Just something to think about. Can't stay here long, but again, like we've talked before, maybe have a word with Jiri. See if he'll let me stay out for a little bit longer from now on.
And you hear in your mind, Jax, and Jiri will be safe.
Oh, and most likely nothing bad will happen to Jiri.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can absolutely make an insight check, and Jax, you can roll however you need to.
I will be rolling deception.
Let's be that plus 10 or whatever it is.
Oh my god.
So maybe it's difficult to read this Jax fellow's expressions. You've interacted with him a lot less, but there's probably not anything that indicates deception on his part with that insight roll.
And he'll like catch that maybe and be like, I mean, Jiri will be completely fine. Nothing will be harmed. He'll come of no harm whatsoever. Um, you're right. I don't know too much about it. I think my memories are as clouded as his. I think we both something happened to us. I've got this clear memory of being in a prison somewhere, I think in Daenor. And we met there. That's all I know. All right, I've seen him, Jiri, this form that I'm in before. Yeah, I'm not sure, but like I said, my memories are as clouded as his. But all I know is I'd rather be the one in control. You can't imagine what it's like having to sit back and watch and just sit there and everything he does. It's infuriating. Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, that would be how he's describing it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I know I've been to Dano before, so maybe I'd be a good ally to have to get back there. Don't recall much of my previous life. I know I think I killed people. That's all I remember, though.
What are you thinking? You can ask if you remember something, and I might be able to fill in details if that's where your head's going.
Yes, it does, indeed. It's one of the few things I remember from my title. Jack's the Mad Wolf. Scourge of Daenor, Cutthroat of the Red Plumes.
We did. I don't think our characters had confirmed.
Just think about it. I can't stay much longer. Jiri's coming back. And then like the fog goes back in his mouth. And his eyes go back to Jiri's eyes, and Jiri shakes his head. And he says, "Oh, Toby. Oh, I must have been sleepwalking. I'm gonna go back to bed. I'm tired. Okay, you keep watch. Let me know if any bears come. Okay. I've got a watermelon ready just in case." And Jerry goes back.
Otherwise, perfect. And otherwise, Toby, your rest completes. You're able to wake Sora. And then a couple hours later, you guys are all able to complete your long rest and wake up.
I'm ready to go.
As you guys get up and start getting things together, this has happened before, so nothing of note at first. Sora's not in the general vicinity.
Oh, fuck.
But perhaps she's patrolling the side areas like she has before. Maybe she's going to bring back breakfast. 10 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. More than a half hour passes, and Sora is nowhere in sight. And you guys are fully geared up at this point. Camp has probably been broken down and packed up. So you guys are like ready to go probably, but she has not shown back up.
Did you trip your alarm?
I have it so it's set so that none of y'all trip it. When I do it, I designate kind of friendlies versus foreigns.
What is the range on locate object?
I think it's 1,000.
Put this in perspective for me. That's a fifth of a mile. A fifth of a mile. You extend your consciousness in this way, expending that spell slot to reach out and try and sense her location. You do not get any pings.
What do you mean she's far?
Centaurs.
Is her stuff still here?
Her bedroll is laid out as if she was going to return, but all of her personal belongings were on her. She travels very, very light.
I will. I'm just gonna roll up her bed.
Okay. Very cool. Make a survival check. Telperion, when you're nodding, are you?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, watching him start looking at the ground, I want to go specifically towards where the markings were, and then
Okay.
like kind of start venturing forward, not going like more than 5 feet into their territory, like just that general vicinity, and looking for hoof marks as well.
Okay.
Hoof marks.
Survival as well.
Yep, survival.
We got a flat 10.
You both got. Oh well, Toby's a little over 10. Telperion, you go over to where the trees where you know the markings were. No discernible tracks that you can see. Not only just not any tracks, but certainly no fresh tracks, or maybe you're just not seeing them or finding them. Toby, Rama, checking Sora's cot area, like 20 feet westward, away, the direction away from the marked trees, which were on the southeast corner of the clearing. You guys are traveling south. Southeast corner had the marked trees, designating Centaur territory. On the due west side of your clearing, very, very easily findable marks of a scuffle, of some kind of situation. You see claw marks and brushed up dirt and matted grass in a way that definitely, you haven't found tracks specifically yet. You weren't able to discern that with your survival check, but definitely very clearly signs of a struggle in this section of grass.
Yeah, hold on. I mean, is any of her stuff here? Like, I want to take a look and see if I like specifically looking to see if anything was dropped. But comparing the going off of what Telperion said earlier, comparing any of like the damage to trees or like to the ground, see if it matches like Centaur ish.
Sure. Even if you're out of your element in this terrain, just viewing it from an analytical perspective,
Yeah.
Go ahead and make an investigation check. Hard to tell. You're able to see the area of the struggle, and you're seeing claw marks in the dirt and definitely imprints in the grass where things had been matted, but you're not seeing any specific tracks yet.
I'm gonna go past the scuffle and just do like kind of like a little radius around the scuffle, like outward, looking for tracks past where they were fighting. Looking for someone moving. Like I would assume someone would have to go in and away. So I know I have like some chance of. I would assume I have some chance of finding something. Telperion would.
It's going to be a little harder, further in and away from the struggle. So the DC is going to be slightly higher, but give me investigation as well.
18.
It's pretty good. You notice less signs of a struggle, but when you're looking for a struggle, you see away from the marked trees an equine horseshoe-like hoof print in the slightly damp dirt. And looking around, you see several others. Analyzing the potential gait and arrangement of these sets of prints, there's several footprints, like more than 4 spaced in a direction. There's like 4, possibly another 4, and then like 2. And they're all the same, roughly the same equine horseshoe-shaped prints.
The other 2, are they slightly small? Like it's a set of 2? Like am I thinking like maybe satyr or something with smaller hooves?
Specifically bigger than the rest.
But also horseshoe? Oh, Minotaur.
can pass.
Yeah, this is hard for me. I don't know what you're doing, but
Looks correct.
essentially, not enough. There was not enough portion of a what are those called? It's like the arcs around. Yeah, but I thought there was like, I guess that is like pi is 3.14 arcs around the top of the thing or whatever. I thought that was radians. There was not enough of like a radian portion to indicate there was just like a cluster of 3 over there were marked.
I think the fact that Wahia means we maybe chose well, but she was patrolling the in a radius around, and they may have snagged her. And it also makes sense they would take more than one because she seems pretty tough.
Are centaurs like naturally evil creatures? Like, do we have to worry about them harming our friend?
I think the fact that they took her and didn't murder her and leave her corpse is a good sign. And they didn't. Yeah.
Telperion, you would also have some loose understanding from a cultural perspective, knowing many different types of beasts that patrol the forests. Centaurs are left to their own devices by elves. Very little interaction. Centaurs like to be left alone, but they certainly do not aggress into other areas just to hunt humanoids for food. They would hunt beasts for that kind of thing, or even some maybe of more vegetarian lifestyles and foraging and stuff. Like very formidable beasts and with legitimate intelligence too. But they're very neutral in demeanor, survival in the wilds, not aggressive evil intent. As a general racial trait.
Yeah.
Telperion, can you tell anything over there? Which direction they went? I mean, I'm assuming she was taken, and not for nothing, but she's got us this far. I think we should maybe go look for her. Also, I don't really know the way. I think any of us, well, Telperion, you might.
No, I think the only thing to do is pack up camp, which actually we packed. We just should need to follow the tracks and go, free her, either through persuasion or stealth.
Brute force.
Or force. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't think there's any going on without her.
Is it due west we go?
And it is, the tracks do go due west for 100 feet or so before they slowly venture southward. So there is some version of a route being taken by these tracks, but you absolutely, now that you've identified the prints to look for in the general direction, even if slowly, you are able to track these in a general direction. As you begin to do so, I want everyone to give me a perception check.
$13.
Telperion, Jiri, and Roulette are potentially just following the leader of the elf and the other ranger adjacent Tobirama. Telperion, you're focused so much on the tracks, you're not necessarily getting lots of peripheral sensory information. Tobirama, with an 18, just quick glances, very confident none of these trees are marked with the kind of pattern of slash grooves that designates centaur territory. Which strikes you as odd. If these centaurs, what you're guessing are centaurs, were abducted Sora and are proceeding into this section of the forest, odd that this is not considered centaur territory as designated by those marks.
Well, let me guess. I'm guessing that it's this. They would have had I think we're out. I think we're outside.
Make a
of-
history check.
Okay.
Make a history
Oh, sorry.
check.
I thought.
You might have general understanding and you were able to identify the marks, but in terms of
22.
what you, you are confident that what you were taught growing up of centaurs, they're fairly thorough in their marking of trees. So anywhere in any radius, even if it's an amorphous shape of radius, you would think most of the trees in that general vicinity would be marked. So it's not necessarily just the perimeter and then there's a bunch of bare trees, indicating that you don't think you're in centaur territory right now.
I also wonder because I don't know. We saw the 2 tracks. I wonder if a minotaur has like led astray some centaurs, and this is not the typical behavior. I was thinking if we
Sorry,
were.
did you say Minotaur?
I would know what that is, right?
You probably have an idea of what it is. You've never met one or seen one, and it might even be like, I'm pretty sure those are real. My people have seen those before,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, centaurs have 4 legs. One of the tracks was the sets of legs was larger, and it was not 4 but 2.
Oh.
So I'm assuming there's a minotaur with them. If that's what my eyes saw.
Do you have an see?
My elven eyes. I was gonna say if we were in centaur territory, we should walk around without our weapons drawn and at the ready. But I think that would be to no avail here, and we're not going to be necessarily persuading as much as. Yeah.
Could
Exactly.
they just be regular horses?
Let's keep that in the back pocket.
It could just
Telperion, even in just a moment of insight, you're like, that could absolutely be the case here from these 2 sets of prints, but there was this strange gait of 2. There was this strange gait of 2 of them that does suggest that one wouldn't have been a regular horse.
Well, and also I'm thinking about there was also the centaur, like markings on the trees. So I have, yeah. But anyway, the only one of the true problems is that we can't really be stealthy. We can try. I certainly can't help but give myself away. I could try, although I'll try. But we should be ready.
Moby 3.
Moby 3.
I can certainly pitch him ahead of us to see if I can get kind of a view ahead of us. I'll do that.
Shall I carry you?
No, I can walk for the most part. I'll just keep my hand on top of Alfie, and I'll throw him about 60. Oh no, 75. About 75 feet ahead of me. 'Cause it's up to 100. About 60, 70 feet out, and I'll keep a good glimpse. Just let me know if the path starts turning some way.
Almost like a rolling cane, you kind of set your hand on Alfie's head as the rest of his form rolls. That's kind of cool.
I will. Shit, what was I just gonna say? Oh,
I have a way to help.
As far as like being stealthy or not, I think time is of the essence. We gotta go. Sora wouldn't have left, so she'd probably been taken. I think we gotta just make haste to try and get her back. And I will don my goggles. Before I put the ear cup part on, I cannot see or hear any of you while I'm doing this. So give me a tap on the head or something if you really need me back.
I'll go and
Perfect.
like stand next to Roulette so that I'll be ready to tap on her shoulder.
Perfect.
And I will take Moby 3 off my hip and just toss it in the air. And
I want to do something too. I'm going to levitate a stick. And I'm going to be looking ahead at the trail of tracks. And I'm just going to be holding the stick out as like, I want to like a little dowsing rod. Like as far as I can see the tracks, I'm going to have the stick be like going ahead of us, like a little like, marker.
Okay.
So yeah.
trigger.
No, so well, you can keep an eye on where I'm interpreting it to be, since your little thingy might not be good at seeing the tracks.
Sure.
Perfect. You guys are definitely able to do so. You're going to get some information. So you guys are going to get some information for free with the drone out ahead of you. Roulette seeing through its senses, including, I think, its blind sight. So Roulette has gamed the system in a way to somehow get some version of blind sight. That's kind of cool.
Location, my God.
As your drone is out ahead of you, though, some of you are still paying attention to the tracks. Specifically, Telperian's most specifically so far stated. If Telperian's doing so, please roll a survival check. I'll let you make this, and I'll make you let this investigation purely because you know what you're looking for. So it's just studying the ground for specific patterns.
16.
16. What'd you say you were looking at?
12. So
Toby?
it was going to be 4 or 12, and then
Give me a perception check, Toby. Wow, that's the lowest you can ever roll. Yeah. Toby Rahman, nothing necessarily of note in your journey. However, Telperian, 16 is plenty enough to maintain visual on finding these tracks. Sometimes, depending on the terrain, wetness versus dry, gravelly versus heavy foliage, it might be difficult in different moments or more easy in certain moments, but you guys are able to continue following these tracks for 30 minutes, for an hour.
Oh yeah.
A little more than an hour goes by, and Roulette, in your sensations, both sight and otherwise, of your drone out in front of you, you see the whole forest seems to get darker out ahead of where your drone's heading toward, and you see a massive form looming out ahead of you, but in the darkness it's really hard to tell what that is. And when I say massive, I don't mean the form of some large creature. I mean hundreds of feet wide, maybe 100 feet high, built up into the network of the trees surrounding it. This massive form structure. Hard to tell until you guys continue to get closer.
My thing is definitely 20 feet in the air is where I'm the hover level. So that's 150 feet ahead of us.
Significant. Yeah. Pretty far ahead. You're losing, it's hard to maintain detail from that, but as you guys keep moving forward, it slowly is going to come more into detail. But even with your thing floating 20 feet in the air, it's clearly this thing is way taller than its elevation right now.
I'll whisper that out loud. We got some sort of building or massive gargantuan creature or something up ahead of us. I can't even make out the outlines of it. I don't know what it is, but it's something big. I'll keep inching him forward, but I don't know what this thing is coming up. Do I see any light or fires anywhere?
Not approaching it, although when you get 100 feet away, and it's all very dim and dark down in this forest, so your visual acuity isn't very strong from distance. As you get 100 feet away, you think you do sense some source of light, but deep within, you're getting the faint pulse of a glow looking at this thing, as if some entrance to this thing is apparent. And as you get a little closer, 60 feet, 50 feet, close enough where even the darkness, you're able to finally get some version of a silhouette for this thing, you walk up to this form, and it is a massive wide dome of interweaving branch-like thick wooden vines with horrible hooked thorns, forming some version of this large wall in front of you that wraps around very wide and goes about 100 feet high. Telperian, give me a nature check with proficiency from herbalism.
Nat 20.
very immediately, you know, those interweaving wooden vines are bramble vines. Vines are very rarely ever made from actual wood. Bramble vines are like an enormous nuisance in the Emerald forest. They are truly organic vines that stay thin and hooked and barbed, but they're made of true wood, and they seem to be interweaving and interlocking to form like a facade of whatever structure this is that seems to go far on each side and wrap around into a large dome. But you also know that even though bramble vines are a huge nuisance, like a weed in the forest, they're still like a weed. They grow in patches on the ground and stuff. You've never seen anything like this structure in your life.
Whatever is happening here, someone is doing this. Someone's literally commanding the forest to form this structure. Because those should not be organized in any cohesive fashion.
And as you guys have approached this and you're seeing this facade, the light source you were able to see there seems to be some kind of tunnel-like entrance into the front of this thing that the tracks are leading right up to. And there is a soft glow from inside that is just able to be, it's giving some version of a light source. And in the silhouette, being backlit from that light source, there's a single pole affixed to the top of, or not the top, but to the side of this entrance. And there's a skull affixed to it that seems to be some kind of amphibious-like creature.
Oh.
Oh.
Pushing Moby, because I think if I've got the dimensions right, like pushing Moby 3 like further, he doesn't even get to the top of the dome. It's just like, it's a huge ass, just like thorny dome. Okay. I will pull Moby 3 back
and noticeably the dome is like interconnected with trees. There's trees growing out of it, and its vines are like wrapping into trees. It is a dome, but it's not like there's a clearing with this dome. It is very much interconnected, like homogeneously bound into this portion of the forest.
So we're going
Toby Rama, you're casting a spell. Okay. As you guys are getting a little closer, roll me an intelligence or nature check when you're looking at the skull.
It's 16 for me either way.
Solid. Anything from you, Toby? Pretty good.
But like not them.
Like I had mentioned, for many of you are getting that this seems to be like some kind of amphibious creature. It has like almost the jowls and kind of front snout like shape of like, it almost reminds you of the basilisk in that you fought back near Ostennis because of its kind of lizard-like shape. And then Telperion, you quickly identify that, or I'm sorry, Roulette, that this seems to be the way the sockets are kind of hollowed out in the framing of the jaw. This looks like it was a humanoid lizard. This is the skull of a lizard folk. And you may never have seen one or even studied one mostly, but you're very clearly identifying this is the skull of a humanoid-like lizard.
What were the creatures I saw carving into the tree?
Those were lizard folk. Very different sections of the forest, so it's not an immediate indication that like one of those creatures was killed. They were journeying eastward like a day ago, whereas this is southwestward the following day. So that's not really, I don't think, a concern here, but it is very, very indicative of that type of creature. What you saw yesterday is definitely what type of skull this is.
It could have saved them. I share that. this is some sort of humanoid lizard folk type creature. I'm not sure if anyone else is picking up on this vibe, but this place doesn't seem exactly friendly to outsiders. Not that I was expecting anything different from the folks who may have abducted our escort, but we should be careful with whatever we're doing going into here. This is definitely an entrance. There's definitely light and some activity inside of here, but do we want to find a back door, or do we just want to waltz in as quietly as possible and see what happens?
I think I went to the verse and say, shop blades, shop wits. Let's be quick and not look for a back way. Let's just go in.
You could have rhymed that somehow.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Exactly. Quick wits, right, Jerry?
Wait. And the footprints definitely go inside this place. Is that what we saw?
They are
Yeah.
leading into and seem to continue further toward the entrance. Yep.
Yeah, we definitely gotta go in, but like, do we go in shooting arrows and stabbing people, or do we like go try to talk to them first?
Send a little.
You want me to send Moby 3 in real
send
quick?
a little bug
Moby
in
3.
first.
Let me send Moby 3 in real quick. You're getting some exercise, buddy. I will not have him fly. I will go to drop him on the ground, but probably drop him on Alfie's head, which is funny to look at. And then he will fall onto the ground and he will start rolling forward the same way Alfie normally does into
love
that
it.
little path.
As you kind of slip on your goggles and earmuffs and kind of go into Moby 3's senses, as it progresses into this tunnel-like entrance of these bramble vine maze-like corridors within, suddenly it gets 20 feet in, 30 feet, and the structure opens up. There's a forest in here, just contained by this weird peripheral perimeter of this bramble vine dome. And it seems dark in there, not just from a visual perspective, but it seems wrong. The vegetation seems limp and blackened. And as you're getting some as you're getting some sensory information in that moment, contemplating going in further, that's where we'll call it for today.
I want to grab the earmuff